is Drink Talk, where we try to solve the world's problems one drink at a time. Each episode in this podcast, we talk about the topics of yesterday, today, and tomorrow while reviewing and enjoying beer, spirits, and wine from around the world and crafted locally. So grab your drink, raise your glass, and join us. We are your hosts, Brian and Britt. Cheers.
Check us out. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Drink Talk.
Yeah,
we are live here at the Green Room, downtown Omaha, 16th Street.
Yeah, what is it? What's the exact address here?
306 South 16th Street.
There you go, just about a block north of the Orpheum Theater. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, about a half block, right smack dab in between Harney and Farnham.
Yeah. It's a
more
perfect little spot.
More locally known as the 1600 building.
Oh, okay. There you go. If you
even the former First National Bank building.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for hosting us.
Let's start over here and let's do some introductions.
Yeah.
Nate, you want to start us off?
Yeah.
Nathan Verzal.
Get up in the mic there.
Long-time listener, first-time podcaster.
Matt Owens.
Andrew Mead.
This is the crew that's running the place.
Exactly.
Right?
We're definitely always open to having a conversation with anybody about anything.
Perfect.
Just to hold on to Facebook, YouTube, and all that. By the way, there might be music played in the background. We do not own any copyright to it. It's Joe Spar music. It's just playing in the background, so we're not trying to, gain money from this. So, just a heads up there.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah,
and that's our legal disclaimer for the day. So
all the asterisks.
Exactly. So let's get into when you guys opened. So you just opened last month, right? So you are downtown's
we opened on
newest
January
bar.
9th.
Oh, nice. Did you guys have a soft opening before that, or was it?
So January 9th was a soft open. Hard open was January 10th.
Oh, okay, great.
So we.
How was the turnout?
It was fantastic. So quick little intro. Like we're trying to be a neighborhood bar. So what we promoted for our soft open and the hard open was all of the spaces that are next to us, like 1600 Farnham, Kensington, Orpheum, Limelight, Wire, like all of our neighbors. We promoted to them, and they all showed up for the opening. It was fantastic. Everybody had a great time. The beer was flowing like wine. It was great. It was just a really, really fun time, and couldn't ask for a better thing outside of the fact of the snowstorm.
Was that during
that was the weather flip.
3 blizzards back to back to back.
Well, at least you had your neighbors coming in, right? So that was cool.
If you're gonna go drinking, why not just walk downstairs? It's a beautiful idea.
Yeah, exactly.
And like I said, we had a lot of people show up. Great.
So being so close to the Orpheum, is that kind of how you came up with the name, like the Green Room? Because in theater and concerts, you have the Green Room in the back. Is that how you came up with the name?
Yeah.
That's the hardest part of any business, I think, is coming up with a name. You find a location, you start thinking, okay, what does the neighborhood need? What does the neighborhood want? You have no idea.
The hardest and most insignificant as well.
You got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
You got to build a website. You've got to get it, going.
You got to make sure no one else has the name.
Yeah, file paperwork with the government.
Playing into the Orpheum, a green room being, where the actors hang out, before and after they go on stage. We're also in a bank. Green's the color of money. That might be a stretch, but it kind of played in with the location itself.
This being the old First National building, like right above our building here, essentially our ceiling is the old lobby of the First National Bank, and like their second amalgamation, I believe, of banks in Omaha.
And kind of another kind of cool thing to lean into the whole First National Bank thing. We got like crazy bank vaults in our basement and stuff like from back in the day.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's super cool. Kind of a little surprise. I got to see it when I go to the office. All that fun stuff. And then the last reason, it's kind of a 3-tier thing for the name. The last one is we're trying to introduce absinthe to the Omaha market a little bit more. So there's movies out there. I don't know if I can say what movie it is or try and promote that or whatever, but there's a movie out there where a bunch of people drank some absinthe and a little green fairy showed up.
I remember that movie. Yes.
So we're kind of playing into that lore a little bit and you know, the fairies are green. We're trying to be an absinthe bar. You know, money's green. The green room for the theater and everything like that, you know, it's where they party pre and post show, and it's kind of like just a threefold thing that I think works really well in this neighborhood. Way back in the day, this actually used to be the theater district of Omaha. Like it's on the books, it's facts, and we're actually in the process with some other small business owners around the neighborhood. We're creating our own district, which is actually, I think the name that we're moving forward with is the Orpheum District.
Oh, nice.
And
for those of you that aren't familiar with Omaha, where you guys lie here on 16th Street, literally if you exit your door, you could throw a rock at the Orpheum. It's just...
I wouldn't recommend
that.
I mean, don't throw rocks.
That new marquee is probably not cheap.
Exactly.
Yeah,
but it's very close by.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's that, and one thing that we're trying to do here, and I think that we've been pretty successful at it thus far, especially with the other small business owners that are in the Orpheum District with us, is create a sense of community that kind of has been lost, let alone in the bar industry, but like kind of just in this neck of the woods for a while. And we're just, you know, we're trying to be good neighbors. You know, you need a cup of sugar, I got you. You need, you know, some straws, got you. Like it doesn't matter. We're just trying to build up this area to its like glory days.
You
like
know,
we want to really just drive home the fact that everybody's here for each other.
Yeah.
And it's a really cool thing that's happening, and it's really contagious. And we can talk about it later. It just gets me excited. So I like talking about it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, before we get too crazy, we need to start talking about the drink, because the show's called Drinks.
I need to get a drink in my belly.
So the first one that we have up for you guys to try is a really interesting cocktail.
Do we need to move it more in the light there, Britt? Is that?
Here I can just put it in the middle of the table right there. Yeah. Let's move this drink off to the side. You got it. Boom.
So this
Beautiful drink.
Gorgeous cocktail. Basically, what it is we dubbed it the Tinkerbell. You know, going into the whole absinthe thing and fairies and all that stuff, who's the most famous fairy? It's most definitely Tinkerbell. Everybody knows Tinkerbell. Yeah. What's cool about this cocktail is it's made with a spirit that not a lot of people know about. Kind of has some interesting lore. From my understanding, it's one of the oldest distilled spirits in the world. It's called Mastiha. Basically, what Mastiha is a Greek tree sap liqueur. How I came across it is, you know, we have to go through reps and distributors and all that stuff for our booze, and basically what I did is I went to all my reps. I was like, hey, yo, what's the weirdest thing that you have? Bring it in, let me try it. I tried this Mastiha, and it is a beautiful spirit. I can't even begin to describe the first time I tasted it. It's fantastic. You get some nice herbal qualities. You get a little bit of almost like a fresh picked cucumber vibe. The best way to describe it, to not necessarily dumb it down, but make it more powerful description, is a floral gin with simple syrup. So you get a little sweet tone, you get a little floral, you get a little vegetable. And then the other part of the cocktail is Peychaud's bitters.
Is that the clear part? Is that
the lower end of it, the clear part? That's the Mastiha.
And it's hard to get on the camera. You can't. For some reason, when we zoomed in on it, it looked
kind of just looks red.
Yeah, but the red is floating on the top.
Yeah, it kind of blends out. It's been sitting here for 45 seconds or whatever. It kind of starts amalgamating in the glass and whatnot. But when it first gets dropped to you at the bar top, it is crystal clear bottom, nice little float of red, then a nice pop of yellow with some citrus on there. The whole reason that the citrus is in the cocktail, to get some citrus on the nose of it, and that kind of changes the way that you're tasting stuff, because 90% of your sense of taste is also smell. But the whole cocktail, literally 4 ingredients if you're counting my sashimi style lemon. It is Mastiha, Peychaud's bitters, that sashimi lemon, and then just a couple little squirts of absinthe. And we're the Green Room, so why not put absinthe in pretty much everything?
I'm ready to try this.
Yeah,
go ahead, Brett.
No, pass it around, man.
And, big shout out to Sean Bokelman too, because he played around with this cocktail a little bit. If you've been drinking around Omaha, I'm sure you've tried some of his cocktails. He actually runs our wine program here.
Oh wow!
But
it's like I just went to the forest.
It reminds you of being a kid and getting tree sap on your hands.
Yes, tree sap. That's what it is.
And so it's a little bit of a reminiscent cocktail, I think. Where
there is a slight woody, almost like you said, the floral woodiness, the earthiness.
And ABV wise, it's not very overpowering either.
Yeah. So I don't know if you've talked about this on the show previously, but basically, what's kind of happening in the craft cocktail community around the country, if not the world even. It's making cocktails that aren't gonna just kill you, like lower ABV stuff. Even there's sober bars popping up on the coast and things like this, where you can go out, have a good time, and not get annihilated.
Right.
Like, remember it.
Yeah, and that's something that
we only do barrel strength stuff here.
Yeah.
Well, and see, I've noticed that a lot of beer companies are actually coming out with these low cal type beers, like 3%. You know, I want something that I can drink on all day, be at the beach or on a boat or something like that, and drink all day, but not get wasted.
So to speak to that, Brett, like we even have the solo IPA in from Goose Island. So they're doing IPAs low ABV, which is kind of.
And I think Bell's did another one that was low ABV.
Yeah. So Bell's, those are actually the homies. We have an event coming up that we're partnering up with Bell's and some other people on, but basically what they did, they came out with their lighthearted ale. So it's their two-hearted, but it's like half the calories, half the ABV. So it's just like they're super crushable, just like delicious stuff.
Porch pounders.
But it's not something that you're just gonna get, like I said, annihilated on. There's a point in this industry, in my opinion. I mean, I don't know if the boys feel the same way, but like
diminishing returns.
I mean, it's one of those things where like you should be able to go out, have a handful of cocktails and not have to be sloshed.
Right.
And
I'm looking for flavor though. I'm looking for good flavor.
Yeah. I mean, and with the Tinkerbell, I mean, it's sitting at 30%. Like it's just a little baby guy ABV wise, nothing too crazy, super crushable, real tasty, real light, real clean. If and when we get the patio, it will definitely be one of those crushable things when you're sitting on the patio enjoying the weather. Just delicious cocktail.
Nate, you want to tell us about this patio? You guys are going to have a patio here?
Yeah, I mean we're working on it currently.
Just straight out front here.
When you operate under a liquor license, there's a lot of steps you got to go through.
Right. I mean, I'm sure that you've got to put a lot of but you have this huge garage here.
Right.
So during the summertime, you could roll that thing up and just walk onto the patio, which is awesome. But I'm sure you have to have it well gated so that nobody takes drinks beyond the bounds.
I know Dan over at the health department is going to want awnings out there. I mean, we are downtown. We do have a lot of pigeons. Nobody wants a Tinkerbell with a little bit of pigeon left in the bottom of it.
Can he make two of them so we don't have to share, or three or five or one,
Line them
Can
up.
you make two of number two? Yeah, whatever number two is.
Just so we don't have to share.
Gosh, this is great when you have other people making your cocktails for you.
Right?
I know, right?
First time ever.
The bar.
First time of that happening for me over here.
This is a great position that I put this table in. I wanted to accent your guys' wall here, which I know that's something that you guys can talk on, but this has got some history to it.
The whole building. I mean, we're frugal. We don't
want to spend a whole lot of money.
We don't have the money to spend.
No. I mean, as much of a thing as I really want to say that we are really big in basically using reclaimed items.
Sure.
And I think
like this table. This table is one of the
tables reclaimed. I mean, all the stuff
twice reclaimed.
Yeah, all this stuff in here is reclaimed in some way, shape, or form. So like our back bar was from some homies that unfortunately their business reached a demise when M's burned down. It was from the Market House. So we basically took over their entire back bar.
Let me show their back bar back here.
Yeah, and it's a gorgeous back bar. We were able to take it up. Andy, surprisingly, I didn't know this when we first met him, but is a metal fabricator, and he was able to.
What?
Yeah, surprise! Little fun facts.
He owns a welder. Let's say that. I don't know if I would go fabricator.
He knows how to make the sparks fly.
Matt, speaking of spark, do you want this on fire now or not?
Actually, if she gives me the flame of the thing, I can do it in front of the camera.
There you go.
And then that way we can just get a little bit better shot of it.
You want to zoom in on that?
Yeah, for sure.
So I mean, we'll just do it right here. It's just a quick little guy.
Now, what is this one again?
I think he's making two of them, isn't he?
Yeah.
So wait for both of them.
Yeah, we'll wait until he's done with the second one. But I'll talk about it before I do my little fireball.
But where did you get the back bar? I knew it was.
So the back bar's from Market House.
You were saying something like that.
Yeah. So they had this huge. I mean, it's the same exact thing, but we kind of if you look around the space, we have these like weird, like rack systems in here,
dividers
and dividers, and basically what that is from their massive back bar. We chopped it up, put our own twist on it, and then installed it. Andy can talk on it a little bit.
Absolutely.
In the end, we ran into the location, right? And then you got to come up with ideas and ways you can effectively build it out. Like, you just can't go out and typically buy something that's going to hold 390 bottles of liquor, right? So I knew about the Market House's misfortune, and then I was like, well, they only got flooded, so all this metal has to still be fine, you know?
Right.
So I reached out to Matt Bradford, who was one of the partners there, and I was like, hey, do you guys still have it? And he's like, yeah, it's just sitting in there. So we went in there and looked, and they had everything. They had white marble tables, which tied into the absent houses. That white marble is just a thing that you would see in France, where the absent.
I come from France.
Yeah, it's super popular. So everything just started to really snowball with this place and really get a good flow to it. And it's really pronounced in the vibe you feel when you come in here. And this isn't me just on a soapbox talking about the vibe that this place has. This is people who give us reviews on Google, who give us recommendations on Facebook. They talk about our vibe, and vibe is a feeling, and being cool is a state of mind, and nobody really knows how to get to either place. So it's just a happy accident when you reach it.
You've got a lot of big personalities in this bar, I think, from the bartenders to the owners. You got a lot of big personality in the space, and I think there's a little bit of each in every corner of the bar, you know, where if Andrew takes over and he likes this wallpaper, which is, I thought was outrageous. Now that it's up, I think it's gorgeous.
Yeah, I'm looking at the wallpaper on this side, and it looks great.
It's kind of the yin and yang, though. You know, you've kind of got the nice little cocktail lounge on the back side, and you've kind of got the party in the game room over there. And so, depending upon where you want to be or what you're feeling like, we feel like we...
Sometimes we might come across as country bumpkins, but we really do put a lot of thought
country bumpkins
and into the things we do. And
there
you know,
hold on, let me get up on this.
Some of it's out of passion.
Sure, let me know. Are you ready?
Yeah, we're gonna do
I'm ready.
Do the show.
I'm not
real
gonna
quick.
set you on fire, Nate. You're fine. I guess it wouldn't be the first time.
I do need a haircut.
All right, so actually, let me turn this off and talk about this before I do it. So the cocktail we got up next, we made two of them, so we don't have to share that much. Basically, what it is, it's called Pour Me Another. It's an amalgamation of three classics. You got a little bit of a vibe of a Manhattan, a little bit of a vibe of an old fashioned, a little bit of a vibe of a Sazerac. It is a very absinthe-forward whiskey cocktail.
I'm a fan of Sazerac.
Yeah, it's a beautiful drink. We kind of funkified it a little bit, the kind of stuff on the side of it is green salt that we kind of mess around with in house, and the idea is to try it with salt and without salt.
I was going to say green salt. Does that add more of a flavor? I mean,
so what it does in
I've had salt. Is green salt different?
No, it's basically like your pink Himalayan salt.
Gotcha.
It adds a little something, but I changed the color.
Mold?
Of it. Yeah, no, not mold. No, I mean I just use food grade dye. Like we're the Green Room, adding a little bit of something different besides some white. I like the
everything green.
Yeah, I like how the color is kind of dynamic against that black simple syrup that we use. But real quick on what's in it before I fireball these because you guys look thirsty. It is we got whiskey, we got absinthe. We have
Is it a rye whiskey or just a?
No, it is a American bourbon. American bourbon. Then we have an American contemporary absinthe. Then we also have a simple syrup. It's basically just Demerara sugar. If you guys are familiar with what Demerara is, it's kind of a fancier cane simple syrup that we make in house. Then it has a little bit of absinthe, which I'm going to apply now as a kind of charred aromatic aspect of it, and then that salt. So once again, the idea is to try it with the salt and without. The intention behind putting it in there is that salt will kind of cut the sweetness because absinthe has some kind of sweet vibes to it. The bourbon's going to be a little bit sweeter because it's higher corn mash build, and that salt is very sharp and it cuts that flavor profile a little bit. But here, I'll fire these up real quick.
This is awesome. This is the first time we've had fire on the show. This is awesome. I'm excited.
Hopefully it's not the last.
Nice.
So yeah,
like the butane torch.
Oh yeah. Here, I'll pass that back to you so you can give it to my bartenders, and then we'll kick one this way, one that way. Give it a shot. Like I said,
the smell. You can already get the aroma off of there.
Yeah. So
absinthe's such a wonderful spirit.
I recommend. I'm gonna recommend you guys do 2 sips. At least to start. I mean, you can
one
pound
on
out
one side, one with the salt.
Just like the whole glass.
I mean that's the idea. I've seen people do that. It makes me laugh every time.
Which way first? Without or with?
I say try it without the salt first. Okay. Sort of like absinthe itself. Salt is kind of it's kind of a hard yes or no. You get people that love margaritas with salt. They love salt on everything. But then there's also people that are like, nah, man, like I'm not into the savory flavor. I want more of the sweetness. If that's you and you like the sweetness, maybe the salt's not for you. If you like a little bit of that sharpness and want more of a kind of dynamic flavor, I think that
salt completely changes it.
It brings out the absinthe flavor a lot more.
Salt's great for that.
It's a really fun cocktail because of the different applications. You can vibe two different flavors, two different cocktails in one. If you decide to drink it with the salt, then that's one thing. If you decide to do it without, that's a completely different cocktail. But beautiful drink. I love it. It's called Pour Me Another.
Pour Me Another.
I actually thought when they were sitting over there, I thought that was part of the glass. I didn't realize that was the salt on the outside.
Oh yeah, and it's kind of a ode to the homie Edgar Allan Poe, because everybody knows that he was a big absinthe guy.
This is I love absinthe as well. It's my
we're gonna be the best of friends. I'm way into that. I'm an absinthe freak. It's absolutely gorgeous stuff.
And it's really cool. Like it can be an absinthe forward drink, which to be honest, we haven't got a lot of people to dive into the end on that. And I think maybe year 10 we'll have people all acclimated enough to say, hey, I just need some absinthe and water and sugar.
Nice.
Which is almost any drink is sugar, water, and whatever base spirit.
I will say that the salt is there's a little bit of a sweetness to the salt. Is there something that you're putting with that, or is that?
So the food grade dye that I use does have a Yeah, it's a sugar component. It's a particular type. It's not fructose. It's sucrose. So it's a sucrose component to it because it's used in baking. So a lot of the bells and whistles. We have another cocktail coming up that has some funky stuff with it. When we were developing, or I guess when I was developing the cocktail menu, I spent a lot of time in bakery shops. Because you can add it to some interesting bells and whistles because it is food safe. You are using it for baking. You can do different stuff like that. And this particular, the sucrose, it adds a little bit of sugar content to the salt that makes it a little bit more palatable and a little bit more dynamic, if that makes sense. And just little bells and whistles.
To further go with the baking aspect of it, baking and bartending, cooking, bartending, all these things really aren't that far apart.
Just a different medium.
Yeah, just a different medium. You'll start seeing it, and you've seen these coupe glass cocktails with pictures on the top. Mm-hmm. They're, as Matt actually enlightened me to this, all they're doing is using a little baking machine and printing it out.
Yeah, I've seen those. It's pretty crazy.
It looks really easy, but
it looks like it's the craziest thing ever on an egg white. And if you're in the know, it's the easiest thing to do. You literally just get a laser jet printer with edible paper and cut a cookie cutter out of there and snap that thing on, and bada bing, bada boom, you have a Mona Lisa on the top of your egg white.
It takes a drink from 4 to 7.
That ups your Instagram game.
I think
dude, you got to do it for the gram, my dude.
So I think I was at a bar where you were working at one point in time, and there was a cookbook behind the bar, and I'm like, what's the cookbook all about? And now I know. Some of the cooking elements go into making drinks.
Yeah, I mean there is. I mean to do a brief, I guess, sidebar about this whole thing. I mean, kind of like Andy was saying, it is. They are very, very similar. The difference between. All right, let me just make a statement. I am a bartender.
Yeah, right.
I am a bartender. I am not a mixologist. I think that term is whatever. At the end of the day, we put booze in cups and make it taste good. I am not above, and none of my staff
this tastes great.
And none of anybody that works here is above doing anything. You want a $2 hams, got you, brother. If you want this crazy elevated cocktail, got you. It is 100% okay. At the end of the day, we're bartenders. So with that being said, being and being a chef are very similar. It is one of those things where if you can figure out flavor profiles, you can make a drink. It's not hard, man. You can make a ham sandwich, boom, you can make an old fashioned. It's learning the recipe and understanding how different bourbons affect with different sugars and different acids and things like that. It seems like a lot in this industry where oh man, I could never do that. Bro, can you make a ham sandwich? Well, yeah. Cool. Do you want mustard or mayo? Let's go. It's not.
Some of the best bartenders we've ever hired came out of kitchens, and they were so happy to get out of the hot, sweaty kitchen and be behind a bar and actually have, I talk to the same 3 people when I work in a kitchen all day long. But if you have enough I guess the kitchens are good for introverts. Where
Yeah.
the bar you kind of have to be, or at least be able to fake being an extrovert. But if you can take a guy out of a kitchen who's used to putting flavors together and give him liquor, and he doesn't have to sweat or ever clean a fryer, all of a sudden you have a great employee that really appreciates their job and is making more money and can feed their family and take care of themselves.
In some cases.
And so speaking of kitchens, Nate, since we're on that topic, why don't you kind of fill us in on how you got here? Because you used to have a bar with a kitchen.
Oh, God.
You both used to have a bar with a kitchen.
We got
That was
here
a
with,
lifetime ago.
It feels like a lifetime ago. I mean, we got here casting a wide net. We got to meet a lot of cool people. I came up in kitchens. I was a dishwasher when I was 13 years old and managed kitchens for years. And I had a boss. A guy didn't show up for work one day, and I was like, shoot, I can bartend. We're cracking beers. We're pouring whiskey. I can figure that out.
Right, exactly.
And after I did it, I was like, oh, my God.
What am I doing back
This
here?
is so much more fun.
Then washing dishes.
Right. I get to hear jokes, like dirty jokes. I never got to hear, well, I'm not going to say we didn't tell dirty jokes in the kitchen, but all of a sudden it was so much more fun. And then, along the way you meet people, like Matt. There's not probably anybody in town better than Matt when it comes to liquor. When it comes to beer knowledge.
That's
Andy,
a biased statement.
It's my opinion, I guess.
He gets his own opinion.
Andy
You're
and beer.
a great bartender, man.
Andy and beer is, and I think everybody would agree with that, at least in this building. And if not, we'll throw him out. Andy and his beer knowledge. I mean, that guy took beer when we ran Victory, which that's the kitchen you were talking about.
Yeah.
We had,
And the Victory was over in Iowa.
correct, and we carried 200 beers at some given times.
We got up to 200.
That was a great little place you guys had there.
Right.
And great food, by the way.
Yeah, it was really good food.
The kitchen's just become so much work that, Nate and I were working 60,
gotta be passionate
70
about it.
hours a week. And, we made
The
more
real
money.
money's
place
in the
more
cocktail.
money. But the amount of money needed to make just always kept getting higher.
Oh, sure.
And so it was just never going to
Well,
end.
food
so.
costs went right along with that.
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
The difference between booze, I can buy a bottle. We can enjoy this for weeks. Food, you're turning your inventory every 4 to 5 days, or spoil it.
And I enjoyed working with you on that build.
Yeah, Britt.
by the way.
Britt, you've worked on
Yeah,
just
yeah,
about
Britt's
every build
great.
we've ever done.
Great.
So.
This is a very true statement.
In
Emergencies.
some-
I've talked to Britt while he's standing on 40-foot booms, hanging lights. Like, hey, Britt, how do I wire this up? And he's like, well, I'm kind of 40 feet up in the air right now. Can you call me back in 15 minutes? Like, no, this is important.
In some cases, we couldn't do it without Brett, and that's not a lot.
That's the
Thank
truth.
you. Appreciate
That's the
that.
truth.
Yeah, well,
cheers to Britt.
Yeah.
Cheers to Britt.
Salute, Britt.
Salute.
All makes
Cheers to
things
my own
happen.
self. I like that.
Well, it's
Is that like liking your own post and when you cheers to your...
It is liking your own post.
hey, if the post is good, like it. I don't
Right?
care.
That was a phenomenal picture.
Yeah, right.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the ambiance and what you have going on here, because for people that haven't been here, I kind of want to give them a clue as to what it looks like inside
Now,
here.
first of
Because-
all, I want to talk about this kick butt sign you got going on
Oh
over
my God.
here.
Yeah,
So
another
this
friend.
goes back.
Another
This goes
friend.
back to casting a net.
I can see it
We build
in the background here.
relationships. We build relationships with a lot of people, especially behind a bar. 95% of bartending is the relationships you build. The cocktail can be great, but if the service sucked, you're never coming back. The cocktail can be mediocre, but oh my God, I love Matt. I'm going to go see Matt every Sunday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
You're loved,
You
man.
know,
You're
to
loved.
put
So
a
Brian and
Yeah,
Jamie
I'm glad I'm
Cadwallader.
loved.
Actually, Brian and Jamie Cadwallader from Salty Dog, they also had a fire. I guess
Yeah.
half the stuff in here came from a fire, whether it was Yam's Pub.
You had
or
the fire
this
sale?
was Salty Dog.
Other
Yeah, the fire
people
sale.
missed
but
it.
So I remembered he had these marquees hanging up in there, and I called him just out of the blue. We needed something for
Something
to advertise.
flashy.
Yeah. I said, "What'd you do with those?" He goes, "Well, I think they're sitting in a trailer out back." So I drove down there, and sure enough, they were sitting in a trailer just out back of the restaurant. He goes, "When they remodeled it after the fire, everything ended up in a giant truck trailer."
Sure.
And we dug through that thing for probably 25 minutes. And Nick over at Salty Dog, if you guys get a chance to try their charbuff wings, I'll give them a shout out quick because it is
Shout out
amazing.
to Salty Dog.
We dug it out, finding the light bulbs for it. This thing's pretty antiquated.
They're right over there.
You called me about it.
I called you about it.
And I'm
Where do I
like,
find
I
these
have
light
no, I had no experience with a motion sign like that.
I found some little website somewhere in Asia, and I kind of assumed I was never going to see these light bulbs, but they showed up.
There
2
goes
weeks later.
$40.
They worked.
Yeah, exactly.
But so, yeah, it was $40. So what do you care?
Yeah.
You had to buy them out of the light bulbs.
I did buy.
stock,
I did buy enough to have spares.
Yeah, perfect.
Because I'm never going to find this place again.
Right.
and to move off the
That's
sign
awesome.
onto the wallpaper, that is about 1,000 square foot wall. And
I never want to lay another piece of wallpaper in my life.
we brought people in to gauge their interest on putting up some wallpaper.
I've taken wallpaper off. I've never put it on, but I'm sure it's just as painstaking.
After we got the prices for install, we decided to carry on with it ourselves. And about 48 hours later,
it's a good thing bars are dark,
right? Except for tonight, we're kind of lighting this up a little bit.
Looks good stuff.
I mean, at the end of the day, what's really cool about this space and what we've done with it is we did all the work ourselves that the city would let us do.
That's great.
I mean, obviously you have to get in electrical, plumbing, HVAC, all those big guys. You got to
pay the people.
Yeah, got to pay the people to do
the
Pied
Piper.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, hanging the wallpaper, doing these sconces, doing this interior decorating thing, it was very pretty much just us doing it. A little shout out to my sister though; she helped out with the females touch that we needed very badly because three dudes making three dudes making a bar is
you had a lot of
with
YouTube videos that you watched,
terrazzo marble.
We'll just keep it steels and girders. It'll be fine.
She was wonderful. She came in, kind of added a little touch. If and when you guys do show up to the green room, there's a lot of little knickknacks on these shelves and stuff that they kind of give it more of a homey vibe.
We're using some of your knickknacks right now to raise your guys' microphones.
Yeah, see, I mean, we got
goes on behind the scenes.
We're much taller in real life.
Yeah, we.
Nice. Yeah, so you offer pool.
Yeah.
I saw darts around the corner. You got a couple dart games.
Yeah, so I mean, kind of a quick thing about the games that we have involved here. I mean, there's just something about a bar.
Classic bar games.
Yeah, classic bar games. People go in, have a drink, throw some darts, play a little pool, shoot a little stick, whatever. Another thing that we have that's actually behind me over on our fireplace mantle, we have a treasure trove of board games and little whatnots.
Awesome.
What was really cool last night, actually being Saturday, because this is coming out at a different point in time or whatever, I don't know what's happening, but anyways, we had 4 separate tournaments going on with Jenga last night.
Oh, nice.
And it was just
you done with the Jenga? I want the Jenga.
Yeah, dude, it was awesome.
There's this Jenga where you pass.
Oh yeah, we have
this
this super gnarly Jenga. Shout out to Taylor and Soto. They're a couple of our regulars. They work in the industry as well. One of them, Wicked Rabbit in Omaha, fantastic spot.
Nice.
The other one, La Colono in downtown Omaha.
Also fantastic.
Give respect where respect is due. They're fantastic humans. But they've kind of donated some games, and they donated this gnarly version of Jenga. It is Jenga Pass. Have you heard of this game?
For a bar.
No, I've never heard of this before.
All right, so it is literally a tripod thing with 2 handles on it, and it's a little mini version of Jenga, and you have to hold it up off of the ground.
He's going to grab it.
Yeah, he's grabbing it. You hold it up off the ground, and you have to do the thing.
We
and then
could play
you
this
pass
we
it.
talk here.
Oh, wow.
And so you have the little Jenga guy up here, and you have to press it, pull it, whatever, and then you pass it to your partner.
We don't have to set it all up, but I get how you have to really balance that.
Put a couple of wood blocks up there, and so you can see.
I kind of want to buy one of these for my house now.
Oh, it is fantastic.
I watched a video of it at the bar here that these guys did.
Yeah.
We
were passing around between the 5 of us, and the couple bartenders got involved too on a little bit slower kind of opening shift, and we went around the horn with it.
Nice.
And it was a super fun time. Yeah, I don't even want to mess with this.
I just bring it out. Always looking for something fun to do, though. I mean,
you need to get the giant Jenga with 2x4s.
And let's just be clear about this. We don't offer food here. We are a cocktail bar, a neighborhood cocktail bar.
But you do have a place next door.
We got several awesome places. Yeah. There's Mercury, which is right across the.
Yeah. No. So the place across the way. I mean, we have a lot of them, but I mean, there's. Like we talked about earlier with the whole Orpheum District thing, we're all about
best food in Omaha.
We're all about cross promoting. So if you kick over to Monarch for a super good burger, or if you go over to Block 16, or if you go over to we got Panda House, we got Himalayan Java, we got Oasis Falafel, we got all these places that are doing just really really good food food stuff. And at the end of the day, I mean, since Nate and Andy kind of talked about it, we're gonna leave food to the professionals. You want to order something, bring it in. You want delivery, deliver it here. Yep. Whatever.
I was just gonna ask that if you can
you can bring outside food, no beverage.
We are working on delivery with a lot of these guys too, so
nice.
we're kind of looking to be an extension of their dining room,
absolutely,
without having to deal with the food. we can't hold a match.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I'd have to be a fool to try to open a restaurant right by Block 16 in Omaha. Block 16 just is awesome. They knock
if you
it out
guys
of the
want to order
park.
for yourselves as well, I mean, we all could have a cocktail.
Why don't you like sharing with me anymore, Brad?
I like
sharing.
I like sharing with you.
Yeah.
It's a neat community aspect. I like it.
Yeah, go. I guess. What are we doing next?
What is the next cocktail that they're making?
let her whip it up, and then
she'll-
we'll talk about it.
Yeah, she'll have something coming up next or whatever. But
we can talk about the wine we offer.
The other offerings other than craft cocktails. What do you offer?
Once again, Sean Bokelman is doing our wine program. We offer a house white and red.
Shout out to Sean.
That's a super
Guy's super knowledgeable. I mean, you'd be hard pressed to find a guy who knows his wine like he does. And the game's changed since we were in the wine program.
we will offer a basic one, which is more your mass produced, and we'll offer those offerings at like $6 a glass, which is super easy. Why not sit down and have 4, right?
You're not serving Frenzia, right?
No. And then
Just making sure.
And then we'll do a step up by the glass at $10
Okay.
a glass. Once again, this is now when you go up to the 10, which is only $4 more. It's a state grown grower producer type wine, and we'll eventually, and we have started to get into the by the bottle wine, which is more grower producer estate wine. It's super good. We
don't carry a lot. We carry very little.
I mean, you're known as a craft cocktail,
right?
So that's what you cater to.
But what we do carry, we'll stand behind 100%. It's
Sure.
not like something our rep just pushed on us and we had to pick up and we had to take. Like
This isn't
pick these
barefoot.
things because
everything in here, whether it be what my wells are, what we have, has been hand selected. When it comes to beer, to wine, to cocktails, to what's in the cocktail, everything was done with intent.
So our father is a wine aficionado, and I was actually talking to him tonight about us going here. We did our family lunch today instead of family dinner since this was going on. Before we leave, I would love to have your best glass, not best, because that's probably an expensive glass of wine, but at least one of your better glasses of wine so I can get a kind of a judgment.
we'll send you with a bottle for him. How about that?
I'll send you a whole bottle.
You don't
of
need
this
to do
for
that.
Only if you got to sign it in a Sharpie.
Yeah. Like,
I want to sign
Can't
bottles
open
like
it
you
till
guys by
Christmas.
Drink Talk.
I'm okay with that.
We need an absinthe bottle signed, and we'll sign your wine
yeah.
bottle deal.
I'm into that.
Best absinthe story.
Ooh.
Absent story in what regard? Like
All right,
the lore behind it?
So my
I have one.
my best absinthe story. Let's start here and we'll work our way around the table.
Just reiterate that keep your filters on, boys.
Right.
This
So-
absinthe can get weird.
Mine's a straight up good story.
So no,
People watching.
mine's a pretty decent story as well. This would have been 6 years ago. I was invited by one of my bosses, one of our good friends, JD. I went to Breckenridge. He's like, hey.
Colorado.
Breckenridge, Colorado. He's like, hey, my family, we bought this beautiful home. We have more than enough room if you and your wife want to come up. This was before we had kids. So I was like, yeah, I'm down for coming up and doing some snowboarding at Breckenridge. Absolutely. Right around New Year's Eve, right? So
Sounds like a horrible time.
well, I mean, that was the time. And so New Year's Eve rolls around. Let's all go out to the bars in Breckenridge and check this all out. Well, so we go into Breckenridge, and the very, very, very first bar we hit is this absinthe bar. And it's kind of cool. It's kind of underneath something and a real low-key, very chill vibe.
Is it right on Main Street there in Breckenridge?
It is right on. It's kind of right by Bubblegum Shrimp Company.
Okay.
It's a few stores down from that, but it was kind of like this there's a restaurant up top, but then they're below it. So anyway, we go there. We had a great time. All right, time to move on to the next bar. We go on to the next bar, and the cover is like $28. It's like, oh my gosh. And there's 6 of us. Woof, exactly.
You have to ask.
So we go on to the next bar, and the cover was only like 10. We're like, okay, well, 10's reasonable. So we're starting to walk in, and I realize I don't have my ID on me.
Oh.
Great.
Oh, buddy.
So you know what? We just go back to the absinthe bar, and it's like, hey, we're back. And we spent the night at the absinthe bar. We got champagne, we got absinthe, and it was a great night. JD actually went upstairs and went to the restaurant, ordered, and they're kind of combined, ordered a bottle of champagne, brought it down. People were like walking around. It's like, where did you get the champagne? We have our ways. We got our ways.
New Year's Eve, got your bubbly, got your absinthe, got good family, good friends.
I mean, it's just such a good time. And there's my absinthe story.
I feel like
did a New Year's Eve on absinthe.
I feel like I've known you for a long time, Britt.
Remembered
and
the story.
You being a rock star just makes total sense to me. Just popping bottles in an absinthe bar in Colorado, like that's very in line with the brand.
I brought
like
this.
you do.
Yeah, exactly, like you do.
So my absinthe story actually ended in Colorado as well. I was in the Navy in 2004, and I got the privilege of going to the International Air Show in Paris. Got 2 weeks in Paris. I did menial work, literally nothing. Got to go to the Louvre, all sorts of awesome places, see awesome things. Anyway, on the way back, we flew. And I was looking for some absinthe to buy, so duty free bought some absinthe
out on the street. I need some absinthe, man.
And thought I couldn't bring it back, and I was like, stuck it in with all the other Navy ship stuff. Either way, I was surprised to see it actually show up. I figured they would have got it when they checked everything. But I went to Red Rocks up in Colorado and watched Blues Travelers on July 4th.
Awesome.
And literally the whole time before, we were just pounding that shit straight. We didn't even know what sugar was.
Danger.
Like, just straight, just passing around, about 4 of us. I proceeded the concert and literally blasted. running down the incline stairs, like all sorts of crazy stuff. And then there's just one last little great pic of all of us staying together and me just taking a nice little pull straight off the bottle. What doesn't hurt you only makes you stronger type thing.
There's a song in there.
Yeah.
Not to interject the wonderful absinthe stories, but we do have 2 new cocktails that we should probably drink. Right?
Yeah. Those look beautiful.
So I'm working on getting
I'm noticing a theme with the green.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense for what we're doing here.
Push those a little more forward into the camera.
So these cocktails,
perfect, right there.
They're called the Emerald City. So I have my bartender. Thank you, sir. I don't know if you'll be able to get this on camera or not, but when we were talking,
I can zoom in pretty tight.
Here.
Look at that.
You can see
that looks like a legit bottle right there.
Yeah. Here. There you go.
Get it swirling.
I can see that on camera.
All right, beautiful. So basically, Emerald City, kind of leaning into the fancy, sparkly kind of cocktails. I came across a thing called luster dust. It's used in baking a lot, and basically, it's more or less edible glitter that doesn't dissolve in water or ethanol.
So like saffron?
No, it's not. It's not an herb. It's almost like I don't want to call it a paint, but it's like an edible glitter.
Okay.
So it's not like spices or herbs or anything like that. So what we do, being the Green Room, they make an emerald flake. I got the emerald flake, and I actually make
thank you, sir.
An aloe vera simple syrup, and then I add.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of funky.
If you saw what it originally came from, you would 50-50 on whether you'd want to take a drink of it, but it turns into a really beautiful
what's
cocktail.
on top here? I see like pepper or something.
No, so that is the emerald flake that you're seeing.
Gotcha.
So this cocktail, it is a gin-based cocktail. So we got gin, we have our aloe vera simple syrup. There's fresh squeezed lemon, and then on the menu, what I label it is flower power. And it's more fun to say that than what it actually is. I mean,
sure.
What it actually is Saint Germain, which is an elderflower liqueur, and then we use some rose water as well. Due to menu space and words and whatever, instead of saying all these things, I think it's a little bit more unique to call it flower power because you got 2 flowers in the cup. What you'll be tasting though is you're going to get kind of nice, crisp, kind of refreshing vibes. You might pull a little bit of almost like a white grape out of there. As well as some of that floral quality that I think blends really nice in the glass, and that another just crushable cocktail.
I would say if you're a fan of clear soda, this is a drink for you. Like if you like Sprite, 7-Up.
Oh yeah,
this is the drink for you.
100. Makes gin approachable.
Tom Collins is just so boring after you have one of these. You can't go back. It's a good play off it.
I'm trying to put to words the actual flavor. It's a candy that I've had before.
So that is, you are tasting
Warheads.
the aloe vera.
Is that what it is?
It's like a warhead.
I feel like
It's got
you're
that sour to it,
Something. Yeah, it's just got a hint of sour.
Yeah, like a lemon drop.
That's your fresh
candy.
lemon.
Yeah, like a lemon drop candy.
It's a beautiful drink. Like I said, super crushable.
Almost like a Skittles kind of flavor.
There you go. That's what I'm thinking. Skittles, like the lime Skittles.
I love me some Skittles. So I didn't know if that was the actual inspiration for the cocktail, but I'll take it.
It tastes like Skittles. It's great.
Yeah.
Who doesn't like Skittles? Everybody likes Skittles.
It's kind of like putting the Jolly Ranchers in Zima.
Oh yeah, back in the day.
Back in the day, I was doing that yesterday.
Well, I was gonna say, did you see how they like re-released Zima like last year or whatever?
Yeah, we did that over at the Black Squirrel.
Yeah, they released Zima, and there was just an outage of Jolly Ranchers all throughout the city because everybody was loading them up.
There's millennials going, what?
Yeah.
I'm not even sure what to do right now.
Malt liquors.
Malt liquors.
No, that's a very bright.
Bingo.
That is a very bright, like citrus forward. That is a very
intense.
like a warm weather drink.
But you can enjoy it even if you say I don't like gin, because we get that a lot. I don't like gin. It's like you've never had gin made
I would have
correctly.
never said that there was gin in there.
I would have never said, because gin's got more of a kind of a
piney
pine
Christmas tree flavor.
Not all gins do.
Right,
mean,
yeah.
we are doing drink talk here. I think that
It's the elderberries.
Yeah, I mean a lot. it's the juniper and a lot. I feel like gin just gets a bad rap sometimes, and like kind of what Nate was saying. Like it's not that you dislike gin; it's like you dislike London dry gin
Or gin straight.
Yeah. London dry gin
fair
just like punches you in the mouth with evergreens. Like awesome, I'm licking a tree. Like it's not something.
Tastes like Christmas.
Exactly. There's a
softer gins, more floral gins. You know, sometimes you want a sturdy gin.
You
Sometimes
know-
you want a Tanqueray because it needs to stand up to something like in a last word. You know, where you're going to put green chartreuse in there. It's like, God, I got green chartreuse and lime juice. I got to have a sturdy gin. Where something softer is sometimes more called for.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, everything is picked for a certain reason. I mean,
Some of that.
yeah, no, that's yours, man.
He likes Skittles.
Yeah, it's delicious.
Another different thing we do, and I don't know if you could see it in the picture. Like like our ice here, we don't over dilute it with ice.
Too forward, a little back. There you go, right there.
We use chipped ice here,
Which is
a little
fantastic.
Which is
Yeah.
actually an old Sonic ice machine that we had
Oh,
refurbished.
nice. Perfect.
Because Sonic has the best ice.
Yes, they do. Buc-ee's and Sonic. Man.
Sonic did have great ice.
And so we had one refurbished, and that's what we're using.
Now the problem with that is like it dilutes it.
Do I need a disclaimer when I say Sonic?
So you have multiple different kinds of ice cubes, I'm sure, for certain things.
Yeah, so our main, like highball cocktails, things like that. When it
Take that, man.
They have the ball.
yeah, so
Highball.
any of our highball cocktails or like your 50/50s or stuff like that, they'll be served with with the crush ice. Like we saw earlier in the Pomey, that was actually a sphere. In the Tinkerbell, that was actually a so we have a couple different ice preparations that we do that have, there's reason for our ice.
A little bit out there having an ice program in a neighborhood bar, but we have reverse osmosis ice,
There you
so
go.
it's crystal clear. We've made investments into those things, saying, okay, what can we do to be just a little bit better than your average neighborhood bar?
Sure.
It has definitely received it very well. It doesn't have to be. There's bars in Omaha doing incredible, crazy things.
One right across the street.
But we're trying to kick the pretentiousness.
And
We
you-
can be a neighborhood bar
You've
with an
added
ice program.
what we say craft. This is now a craft cocktail bar,
Well,
not
intent.
just a bar.
I like intent. Like we intended to use this on purpose.
Yeah.
So as long as we have a reason for why we're doing something, then let's do it that way.
Sure.
We're not just throwing things together to throw them together. It's why are we doing it? There has to be that why.
I mean, I appreciate the indication of craft, but just like my whole disclaimer earlier about just being a bartender, like we're trying to be just a bar. This kind of leans into a little bit what
don't get me wrong. You guys can get a Bud Light here.
Well, no. So like I'm not trying to like scold you or anything. Like what it is though is I think that somewhere along the way, like the craft cocktail revolution happened, and then everybody was into it, and then everybody got pompous for some reason.
You can have this, but you can't have this. This is good. This is not good.
And I guess maybe part of it was building identity. They were trying to separate themselves away from, the Busch Light bar.
Sure.
Where I guess as I've gotten older, my tastes have evolved. I basically just drink whiskey neat or Guinness anymore. But that doesn't mean that if somebody wants a $2 hams, they can't have a $2 hams if they want a $40 dram of whiskey. Like,
time and place, man.
Yeah, and kind of this like working phrase that I've been using for the last little bit that we've been open and people are asking, like, what's your shtick? What are you guys? And I'm like, we are everything that you want. Like. The broadest brushstroke ever painted. Like, you want dirty cheap beer? Got you, bro. $2 hams all day, every day. You want super, like we said earlier, a super elevated cocktail? Got you. And everything in between. There's no reason why I would have to say no to you on something that you want.
Fireball? Got it.
Yeah, I mean,
well, you can come here on a date night. You know, you can come here on a date night. You can come here with your boys to shoot some pool.
People should, if they're going to go see an Orpheum show, they should definitely stop.
And we've tried to separate the areas enough where if you're out there shooting pool with the boys, you're not interrupting a first date. You know, whether that's Tinder, Bumble, or
somebody heard us. They ordered some food.
Yeah,
they're like,
I've seen it happen.
Shout out to Picklemans. They've brought us so much free food. Thank you, Picklemans, for always delivering us pizza.
And there's a delivery going on right behind us. Actually,
that's what I was talking about.
When you walk into this bar on your left-hand side, it's going to be what you're going to suspect is a craft cocktail bar. And then on your right, and even further to your right where you can't see, is the darts and the pool table and the standing bar. And you
I'm
can
kind
go
of a fan of
be loud.
I'm kind of a fan of the green couches and
everything green. We don't even have enough green in here yet. It's got to be glowing green.
No, if it's green and it's on Craigslist, I'll bet you Andy buys it.
I almost got a $3 lunch pail the other day because it was green. I'm not lying. If I didn't have to drive out to 200th Avenue, I would have been all over it.
I'd pick it up for you, Andy.
I'll set that up.
All right, Matt, back to the absinthe stories.
Yes. Oh, yeah. I mean, I really don't have that crazy of absinthe stories, to be honest with you.
Did you ever go up to, what's the place that Ben Rowe used to run?
Rabbit?
No, the one before that. Wasn't he up at
by
Loom?
Spaghetti Works?
I swear he worked up at Loom, and he was the one that was doing all the absinthe forward stuff up there.
Yeah. No, I've definitely been to Loom, and I've been messing around with absinthe for years now.
Shout out to Loom, that was a great bar.
Yeah, R.I.P.
R.I.P.
Great community bar too. I mean, they really catered to like a sense of community.
Yeah.
And
I remember going to the House of Loom parties that were in Benson.
Right.
Oh yeah.
I remember going to those at what was that little
and
tapas bar?
And the little pop-ups. They used to do pop-ups.
I can't think of his name.
Yeah,
who was the guy who DJ'd for him forever?
Cranston. Cranston. What is his first name? Doesn't matter. Anyways,
my bad.
Back to the absinthe story or whatever.
Brett Crampton.
Yeah, Brett Crampton. There you go.
There you go. Yeah, good kid.
Yeah, great.
I run into him from time to time since I worked on a big event
center. Recycling type stuff for the city.
All those guys have kind of moved on to bigger,
better.
Good for them.
Giving back kind of things too. So
the only thing that. I'll tell a weird story. It's not like I got a bunch of absinthe and I got all weird, but I used to work with a bunch of friends, at Wicked Rabbit and through that whole space or whatever, and those guys. And every year we had a like a lake summer party, and one of my really good friends, his name's Drew Wilson. He runs a little spot in Benson called Kaite, which is a Japanese.
It's one of my favorite. So yeah,
I used to work there too. Drink talk down there.
Let me talk
also
to you
Iron
bartender.
Bartender.
Yeah,
off camera about that. Yeah,
I got an awesome story about that.
Me too. Yeah.
So yeah, shout out to Kaite. Those guys are great. They're the homies. They're awesome. But anyways,
it's a little hidden Japanese whiskey bar in Benson.
Under Ica.
Oh, and you can get away from the crowds up there too.
Correct.
I mean, it's
not true with the story I can tell.
Anyway,
we're gonna keep interrupting.
Yeah. Anyways, shut up. I need to tell you my absence story real quick.
Yeah.
So we're doing this lake party or whatever, and my good buddy Drew, he shows up, and it was kind of like a BYOB thing or whatever, and we're going down the rope swing, we're having a good old time, blah blah blah, and I run up to the table to grab a drink real quick, and he like looks at me and he pulls this flask out, and he's like, "You want a little bit?" I'm like, well, yeah. And it was full of absinthe, and I didn't like. When's the last time you hit flask thinking
with
that
absinthe,
expecting whiskey?
Well, yeah, it was untreated absinthe, so it was literally 65% alcohol just in the face hole, and I was thrown back, and I had to take another one because it was delicious. But
absinthe warms up the body. I'm not gonna lie.
It was just one of those things that it like caught me off guard. It was perfect time, perfect place, perfect experience, good people, and it was just very funny that I've never had a flask of absinthe before. But he's a weird dude like me, and he was like, yeah, man, and like pass it to me, and I like glug like I was expecting a glass of whiskey or whatever, and got punched in the mouth with 65% absinthe. I'm like, okay then.
That was not expecting that.
Yeah, we're doing it, aren't we?
Hang on a second.
Yeah, and then it was the second and third drink that followed. But yeah, I mean that's my little absinthe story or whatever. I mean it's a really fun spirit to mess around with. My favorite thing about absinthe is literally it's filled with so much lore and conspiracy and all sorts of crazy stuff. Like
it's the wormwood.
Dude, there is. I mean, if anybody wants to come to the Green Room and chat with me about absinthe, I will talk your ear off because the stories behind that and like the crazy French government and French wine influence,
the history
that happened with this stuff is wild. Like it is a really cool story. I got a whole bunch of books. I'm fairly educated in the spirit, and it just drives it home for me of why it's so cool.
Yes.
Like I mean, it's like a French Gothic thing to be like absinthe. But
when you come to the Green Room, you're gonna realize
I have my own absinthe spoon.
Yeah, exactly. Like you bring it to the parties. It's great.
While we love absinthe here, we also love bourbon. You can come here and we're only a month in, so we're limited by our ability to collect things so far. Whether that's blends, it's not in the market yet. But we're just going to grow the largest whiskey list, and maybe not in Omaha. It's going to be fairly extensive.
You got some competition there.
Here's the thing.
Proof is going to.
I don't mind sitting on whiskey. I don't mind sitting on absinthe. If we don't sell it, we're going to drink it.
Right.
So
that first drink that we had, that Tinkerbell,
the Mastilla.
You bought everything that was left in Omaha.
I don't know who told you that story, but yeah, that's
us.
Yeah, that's very real.
How many cases do you have?
I'll have all of them.
Yeah, it was one of those things where like we developed the cocktail. The cocktail was super good, and I talked to my rep, and I was like, "All right, cool. Like,
what do you got? I need everything."
I was like, "How much you got?" He goes, "Oh, well, I got like a case left of like this thing," and I was like, "I'll take it all. Just give me everything you have." And he goes, "Okay, cool." And I mean, I don't know if you
exclusive cocktails.
Yeah,
exactly. And no one in this city is pushing Mastilla.
You know the bottle I put one out there.
Like, have you ever heard of that?
No.
It was so dusty. The
exactly.
bottle was so dusty. I'm sure that sat on the shelf.
It's delicious. Not to talk about the cocktail we already had, but like it floored me when I tried it because it's not like anything you've had before. We just bought the entire state's lot. So whatever.
I've never had a bad absinthe. I've never had a bad whiskey. There's a lot of things I've never had. I've had ones that I care for less. But if it's those two categories, I've personally reached out on Instagram to several people, and I've got samples coming here, and we're going to look to distribute more of it into the state as well, because 8 bottles just isn't enough for us to play around with. We want as many as we can get.
All right, Nate, let's hear it, man. I'm sure you've got one.
Actually, mine involves Andy. It had nothing to do with me.
Perfect.
I took Andrew.
I don't even know if I know this.
Well, Andrew and I went down to, it was Mardi Gras, 2012.
I was just getting the 8-year Facebook notification.
Right. So 2012, Andrew and I go down for Mardi Gras, and you're in New Orleans. You got to stop at the old Absinthe House. It's right off Jackson Square. So
he opens up his luggage, it's all party beads. You're like, what? All right, you came to party. All right.
I brought a lot.
You've heard of
like
the infinity bottle, where they just keep dumping whiskey into a bottle and they keep. Well, they
makes it own.
They had this big. It wasn't an absinthe, I guess, drip, but it was full of something black. Whatever was in it was dark black. And I said, what is it? She goes, if you have to ask, you're not going to get it. I said, well, then give it to us.
Right,
I didn't see Andy for 3 days.
Man.
New Orleans is awesome. It's an awesome place. You're never the drunkest person there.
well, Andy, you might have been the drunkest person there. So 3 days later, everybody's worried about Andy. He's in the Navy. He's been all over the world. He's a big boy. He'll show up. I think he walked 3 or 4 miles home over 3 days.
I had blisters on my feet. I bought a new pair of shoes.
He showed up in Omaha. You're like, what?
New pair of Vans just ate my
There's
feet.
vehicles, right?
He rode upriver all the way.
I got pictures of me on Harleys I didn't own. It's a great time. New Orleans, if If you've never been, there's never a bad place to eat food there.
So my absence story is actually Andrew's absence story.
Perfect.
And I don't know what happened in those 3 days that he was gone, but he showed back up, and he had my backpack that I had lost outside of a porta potty
3 days previous.
You found it.
I get things done.
Clutch.
That's right.
Coming through in a pinch.
That's my absence story.
Nice.
Brian, you got one?
I remember the porta potty.
Because I'm last, I got 2.
Oh,
yeah, there you go.
All right, so my first ones are and then I have the wah. So
All right. How was that again?
All
All right, I just wanted to hear what 3 times.
That's funny.
All right, so my first absence story, I was also in the Navy, and yeah, we'll talk later.
We didn't do anything. I hope you didn't work. I didn't work very hard.
Because of that movie that you referenced earlier, which came out at the same time, I was set for deployment. September 19th, 2001 was our deployment schedule. And we had everything set. Like, we saw this movie. We're like, we're going to go get some absinthe. We're going to be in the Middle East. We're going to be in the Europe.
I was on the Double D, the Dwight D. Eisenhower.
Right, I was on a LHD, Holland Marines. So anyway, we had everything planned out. Like, we were going to hit the Europe tour.
People know.
We're gonna hit
People
the,
know.
Yeah. And then that was September 19th, 2001. You know what happened right before that?
Yeah, 9/11.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. So it was Rota, Spain, and then Middle
You were
East.
deployed when 9/11 happened.
Exactly. Yeah.
wow,
so
that's wild.
so yeah, we that was the like thing set. Like, we're gonna get some absinthe in Europe. Like, this is happening, and then
No, you're not.
No, sorry, no.
I mean, as that is, like, that was, I mean, your absence story was a historical absence story.
I'm so
Exactly.
close
Yeah.
to it, but
Yeah,
so
I
far
know.
away. Thanks
Yeah.
for blowing all of our stories
Yeah,
out of the water.
yeah.
You know,
I have
like
a-
with
I have
your
a-
want
yeah.
story.
I have a documented excuse.
Yeah,
that
so-
everybody knows.
So what's the good story then?
All right, the good story is I get my hair cut at Scissors and Scotch, and this is
I've done that.
yeah, that's
Very
where
good.
I found the Sazeracs, right?
Yeah.
So I had never had one. I'm more of I order an old fashioned to find out what the bar is for the
Capable.
bar.
I love that you do that.
Yeah.
Because if they serve you ice, you automatically know that, traditionally a
They don't
Sazerac,
know
the
what
ice
the-
was more valuable.
Oh, he's talking about the old fashioned.
Yeah, he's talking about the old fashioned.
old fashioned.
Yeah, so he uses that as a gauge. That's a wonderful thing that a lot of people do.
Yeah.
like if
That's
you,
what I use as a gauge.
When you're in the know.
Yeah, if a bar can crush an old fashioned, then they can make pretty good cocktails.
Yeah.
If their old fashioned is garbage, then you know that you
Too
probably
bad.
should order a straight spirit.
Yeah, and so they
Can
probably
I get a beer on tap? Thanks.
It's really hard to screw up something neat.
Whiskey.
Yeah.
Put it in the glass.
Yeah. So I ordered an old fashioned several times there, and I was a big fan. And I was like, you know what? I need to order something a little different. And the bartender behind the bar actually knew what the flavor profiles that I like. She's like, have you ever had Sazerac? I was like, I've never heard of a Sazerac. What's in a Sazerac? She's like, absinthe. I'm like, down. I am down for that. Let's do this. And so she made me a Sazerac, drank it, absolutely loved it. But then I found out what they do is they coat the glass with absinthe, right? And then they toss it out, right? So after like 2 or 3 of those, I'm like, can I just
Can you just give me
like
the absinthe?
have can I have that? And she's like, no one has ever asked for that. And so ever since then, like all the bartenders since
They give you a little sidecar of absinthe?
Like when I order a Sazerac, they go, oh, you're the guy that wants the absinthe. And I'm like, yes,
Yeah, don't dump it out.
Absolutely.
Put it in a cup for me.
Yeah.
So there's a couple different, like, I'm glad you talked about Saz, and it's one of those things that is kind of a unique play. I know a couple dudes in Omaha that do that, where their rinse is basically like a rough absinthe drip. So they'll do like a half ounce in a cup with ice, stir the mess out of it or whatever, and then dump that out and give you a sidecar of your absinthe. How we do our Sazeracs here is a little bit different. Like, we actually have an atomizer, so we do a coating with like spray, like what we did with the Poe earlier.
Yeah, we saw that.
Yeah, that coats the absinthe because the whole idea behind that cocktail is you want it more or less on the nose, not necessarily in the drink. I mean, however many Sazeracs you've had in your lifetime or whatever, like
I've lost count.
you know that it's way more of a whiskey drink than it is an absinthe drink.
Yes, because they just coat the glass and toss
But
it.
Exactly.
absinthe gets used in this way so often, and it can be really because it's so high in
modifier.
ABV.
And it's a pungent flavor. It packs a punch.
Black
And
licorice.
if you ever get the chance as a
Not to
Sazerac
scare
fan,
anybody off.
in the Waldorf
Yeah.
Astoria down in New Orleans is the Sazerac Bar, which has operated as an international hotel. Didn't shut down during Prohibition. It's been operational for 300 years. You go in, like,
Wow.
it's
How'd that happen?
it's amazing. Well, it's
Shifty.
New Orleans.
Secret society.
Yeah,
so.
welcome to New Orleans.
Shifty things happen.
But if you make it in there,
Here's your money.
The bar stools are
Bye-bye, cops.
alligator skin. Everything's made out of it's the most beautiful. You walk back in time when you walk through those doors. And to get a Sazerac at the Sazerac bar in the Waldorf, actually, my bartender was Max from Wichita, Kansas, so I was a little skeptical. Best Sazerac I've ever had.
Really?
And to this day, when I make a Sazerac, I make it the way Max from Waldorf Astoria.
I honestly believe, and maybe I'm one of the only people, New Orleans, there's that big LSU contingent of people that come up here because they were so used to being in the College World Series. I think Omaha and Nebraskans in general have more in common with people from Louisiana than they think. We love food. Omaha is one of the best cities, literally
per capita,
hands
the amount of
down.
restaurants.
Give you the shirt off our back kind of culture.
Absolutely.
But not only that, there was, what was the place up in Benson that closed down? Lot 2.
Oh,
Lot 2, awesome place. Acaron up there right now, awesome place. Mercury right over here. Monarch right over here. You got to be extremely motivated and uber talented to think you're going to bring something to Omaha that's different and advertise and market against these people.
I don't think anybody's
I
don't think anybody's an absinthe bar. So that's
House of Loon was.
We're trying to be the spot,
the premier spot.
Yeah, the spot.
Speaking of what Omaha, what did we bring to the table?
Oh, yeah.
Let's go about this. I was just going to say, you boys are looking thirsty again.
Yep.
So what we got here, I don't know if you can see it, but this is kind of a fun play on a classic cocktail.
Classic bartender cocktail.
I'm 100% sure. I could be wrong, but I feel like you gents have had a Negroni before. Have you ever had a Negroni?
I've never had a Negroni before.
No?
I have had yes.
Negronis you're used to use Campari.
The glass is different, but the drink I've had before.
So this is not a Negroni.
Okay.
This is a Negroni riff. So what I like doing for cocktails and things like that is I like taking a classic and kind of doing a little twist on it. I wish I created this. This was passed down bartenders around the country or whatever. It's a very well known kind of riff. It's just a very dynamic and kind of big bold cocktail that I think our menu needed. It's called a mezcaroni, at least that's what I call it, and it is a mezcal Negroni. So if anybody's familiar with mezcal as a spirit, it's going to be coming from the agave family. So basically, it's kind of like a smoky version of tequila. That's like the best way I can kind of dumb down the flavor profile of it. And then you have a little bit of your Campari in there, which is a bitter aperitif. You're going to get kind of like grapefruit pith bitter, a little more citrusy, as opposed to some Amaros that are out there that are like black coffee bitter.
I like
Amaro. If a Scotch
Me and
drinker,
you are going to be friends. I'm telling you what.
If a Scotch drinker was looking to branch out, like in the Big Four drink, this is going to be smoky and
a lot of depth,
and bitter.
Maybe you boys just put that in the face hole. Try it. And then the last thing in that cocktail is Coqui Torino, which is a fortified wine.
You get a little bit of the tequila on the nose.
Yeah, that's the mezcal.
It's not tequila, mezcal. So
all mezcals, all tequilas are
mezcals,
but not all tequilas are mezcal. So much like you would have a.
Well, that's smoky.
It's a big cocktail.
That is bold.
It's like you dipped it in smoke.
Yeah, it's deceiving that it comes in that glass.
It looks soft.
There's some people out there that
it's not for everybody. Let's be honest.
It's not for everybody.
No,
but
not at all.
A very unique flavor.
And I will say, me and tequila don't do well just because me and Jose got in a fight.
No, that makes sense. Did Jose win?
Jack jumped in. It was tag.
Usually does.
And then I'll be honest about this drink as well. While it's big forward and smoky and bold, it's going to be best chilled. So if you come in and order this drink, you're going to not want to set on it for 30 minutes necessarily.
That's good. That's really good.
It's going to get more powerful as it sets and loses its.
I think mezcal's a category right now that is getting bigger and bigger.
Oh, totally.
Year by year.
This almost tastes kind of like a fruity tequila drinking by a campfire.
I could totally buy that. I could get that.
The bitterness of the Campari plays really well with the smokiness of the mezcal, though.
Opening this place, we tried 20, 30 different mezcals probably. They're all earthy. They're all
everything from mezcal that was created. They distill it through rattlesnake meat. that they hang in the still.
There's some funky stuff out there for
It's
sure.
crazy.
It can
Like
get weird.
It's,
As weird
it's
as
like
you
straight
think.
up campfire maybe too. You're like, oh, so they just start a big fire out in the desert and throw some shit on it and see what filters out. Sorry for the.
All right.
We got you.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I just to touch base on the cocktail, just a little bit more, like kind of like I said earlier. I really think that having a diverse menu is important. Some people like big, bold flavors.
Everybody's taste buds are different.
Well, and that's,
there's certain things that I like that my wife doesn't, and vice versa. And you
Totally.
know what I'm saying. Like, not everybody likes a beer. Not everybody
Exactly.
does. So you have to have different cocktails for different taste buds.
You know, and like this is our first iteration of a menu here. We've been open almost 60 days, almost
7 weeks, 8 weeks, something like that.
7-8 weeks. We've already started discussing our next menu.
Nice.
And maybe the next one gets more funky and it's more like little kits. Who knows? We're gonna take ideas that have been used in other places, maybe San Francisco, Chicago.
So when you say little kids, are you gonna like use
Little
Flintstone vitamins?
Kits.
Gotcha.
But hey,
Flintstone vitamins. I was
but
like,
while you're going on that,
I could do a Flintstone vitamin cocktail.
There's
Get all your
There's like-
vitamins.
And now it's healthy.
Little Wilma.
Now
it's
it's
fine.
healthy.
there's not a bad idea when
Nobody's
you're thinking
doing
of
it.
this.
We're Flintstone kids.
And in all honesty, as tongue-in-cheek as like nobody's doing it sounds, sometimes that's the way you got to go because
Just throw it against the wall, see if it sticks.
There are more bars per capita here than.
Well, let's talk.
We're in the top 10.
I was just gonna say, your competition like in the direct area here. We got the Tavern, Gatsby, Wilson and Washburn, Mercury, the Berry and Rye, Bar 415.
Are you really gonna? I was gonna say, are you really gonna like label all 50 of the bars that are downtown?
No. So like craft cocktail
They
places.
are.
I'm glad Brian brought up Wilson and Washburn. We will be there in April.
Washburn's
So
a
the
great
first
place.
week of
Awesome.
Will be at Wilson and Washburn, and
Yeah, those guys are awesome.
we-
as well.
At
we
least
have
you put
one
us
of their
in good
bartenders that
company.
work
Thank
up
you for
here.
putting us in good company. There's a couple in there in our
All
competition.
those guys are
area.
our friends. In all honesty.
Yeah.
Doozy's outdoes you.
Yeah.
Oh, Doozy's steak and cheese. Matt got me adding jalapeno to it, and that was a game changer.
Doozy's is a good spot, though.
it
Yeah.
is.
But
There's a
on your
reason-
bread.
There's a reason that place has been around for 30 years. Like, I
Exactly.
mean, they do
Doing
something
something
well.
right, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we could have a whole nother talk about what we see in this district, as we're gonna call it. Like everybody that came up to 16th Street, just like we did, everyone came up here to stand on their own because there wasn't anything up here helped them. There wasn't $7.2 million being poured into it like the Blackstone district. Not that I'm against it. It's a great place, but this is the pull you up by your bootstrap story that everybody wants to see. There's nothing between 3 apartment complexes that are within a football throw if you got a good arm of this place. There's over 1,000 people. I grew up in Wood River, town of 1,125. So it's a small little city, small little township, as most Nebraskans not outside Omaha.
Well, the
realize.
sense of community down here is amazing. I mean, you walk down the street and you bump into Sagar from Himalayan Java, or you can't go a block without stopping to talk to 3 different people.
Well,
and everybody's
the guys
been
up
so
at Block
welcoming.
16 are just so awesome. Not only is Block 16 just awesome at what they do, they push the envelope with their food. Mercury, which is closed on Sundays, but Mercury Monday through Saturday, they don't have a fryer back there. I mean, they have to be original with the stuff that they create. They got a better wine program than we'll probably ever have here, in all honesty.
And we send people there when they're looking for one. If once you've gone through my wine list, which is
You're
very
like, it's
simple,
okay.
it's a neighborhood bar wine list. It's very good for a neighborhood wine list.
To kind of, I guess, touch base on what was said a little bit earlier. I mean, you this is my view. If it's shared by the gentleman here sitting next to me,
Usually is.
sweet. I mean, sweet. If not, that's cool too. You use the term competition, and to be
Because it's a neighborhood aspect. It's not.
So like in my eyes, and what I'm trying to do here, and what we're trying to do here, is I'm trying to level up Omaha. Like, I got big plans.
We want to be
got big
complimentary,
plans.
not competition.
It's
Right.
trying to do
It's a better
something.
word.
We're trying to do something over here that more or less is change the game of what people think a bar should be. And not saying that everybody needs to follow suit. Not saying that I'm trying to be a trendsetter or we're trying to be trendsetters. But we're the Omaha market, as awesome as it is, doesn't get enough credit due for what we're doing over here. And to elevate that even further is the end goal for like what we're trying to do, and changing the game. Like if you're not innovating.
First bar that I've gone into, and in the bathroom you have the Sunday comics going on.
Oh yeah,
I got
dude.
a little funny while I'm using the restroom.
It's been 5 years since I've had a World Herald subscription, and I miss it so much.
Who doesn't like the funny papers while you're using?
I know that some of the moms on Baby Blues and Zips were the same. The moms kind of look the same.
It's brand new, and I use the facilities as well, and was able to get a good little chuckle while I was out there.
They're our neighbor. They're our neighbor, so we want to support what our neighbors are doing.
You know what?
Absolutely. Pay it forward.
While we're talking about building up Omaha, like Drink Talk podcast, you guys have been at this for how long now?
3 years.
Yeah. 3 years.
Yeah, boy.
We're your right?
Yeah, whoa, we didn't even talk about that.
Well, we're talking about it right now.
100 shows.
While we sit here and dig the trenches, you guys are our back support, helping us get out the word.
Yeah.
And not.
That's what it's all about.
Omaha
you guys are giving us free drinks.
Even
but Omaha doesn't have to be a flyover city. Omaha is a destination. I think in some cases, Omaha in the fall is gorgeous.
If we can just work on the airport here, if we can have it more.
It's getting bigger though.
It is.
Actually, speaking of the airport, that's where this bar top actually came out of.
Did it really?
There was a main center beam north of the airport. I don't know, old hangar, old
the
warehouse.
North Omaha airport.
They tore it down. So off of Epley, up north of Epley.
Oh, okay.
And it was a 31 by 31 inch beam. They tore it down. We took it to the mill and had it sawed down to bar, I guess, specifications, maybe a little bit bigger than what you expected.
It's a big beam.
They were a couple hundred pounds. They're slabs. I mean, they're giant slabs of
super cool.
wood. So the airport must be getting better if they're tearing down the old building.
We did a lot of things. The terrazzo floors. Nate and I made this place like the Sahara Desert in here. Like it's literally a machine about this big that's just got a big steel plate on it that just
diamond
grinds.
grinder. And the neighbors loved the dust we kicked up in here.
I'm sure.
We got homeowners associations to worry about.
Do you have a leaf blower in here?
And they've been so welcoming. I mean, to be honest, you move into a place that has residents up above, especially when they're condos and they're owned, you kind of get a little nervous. I'm not going to say you don't, because you want to build something for the community. You want to build something for the neighborhood. We had our first DJ Friday night here.
Nice.
We're going to start running a Friday night.
I was going to ask about live
Friday
music
night
and DJs.
Yeah.
Friday night vibes
music.
is what we're rocking, and we'll
live
do some
music
DJs, we'll do some
Patrick's
live
Day
music,
well. Food.
And I was nervous about what that would do. Now, thankfully, we have 4 floors of commercial space above us, and we have had 0 complaints down here. I think it's become more of an amenity to the people who live here.
So the people that are above, like, let's talk about this right now. Who's above you right now?
Dinks.
Like, is there an apartment above you, or is it?
No, we have
office
the
space?
bank lobby, the old bank lobby.
So perfect.
And
You've got
beautiful.
plenty of room between.
We've got 4 stories
people
between
living
us.
and this place.
If we keep the bass down, usually you'll see bass travel. You know this. You're an audio guy.
I know this.
And you probably know this from the Hive. That bass seems to travel further than treble.
Right.
And tuning it up.
It does.
It is all about that bass.
All about the bass.
See,
no treble.
I like the tweeters. you gotta have that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But no, the neighborhood's been really welcoming. This building has been really welcoming. 1600, I think. You're always going to be nervous when you own a condo and they're going to put a bar in the basement. Is it going to devalue my property? I think they've now come to the realization.
Go ahead and just talk to me right now, Matt. What's up?
No, I was stretching my leg and accidentally kicked the camera.
You're all right. You're still in frame.
I was like,
Yeah, you're all right.
Hang on, can you turn it back towards me? I'm really.
Since we're talking about the neighborhood too, 16th Street has some of the most historical significance in Omaha. For one, I've said this to Nate several times. There's nobody that lives in Omaha. At one point, you don't have to drive down this street. It just naturally.
Whether you're going to the courthouse, whether you're coming down here to the Orpheum.
Whether you're trying to go down to the old market, whether you're trying to go to the Durham, like 16th Street. And it's a shame that they put a hotel up in the middle of it and really cut it off from North Omaha.
Oh yeah, yep.
That's a whole different
podcast if we wanted to.
That's solving a problem right there.
Yeah. So
we have one more drink.
The old way of solving a problem for sure.
Do you want one more drink?
I mean, we're still rolling.
We could
Sweet, I can get you another drink.
We could do secret menu.
You know people?
You know people and things.
Yeah, I know a guy. We can make this happen for you.
But either way,
we're the worst guests because we're like snapping our fingers and like number 4. Oh yeah.
So me,
hence the beginning of the show. I was like, we need a menu.
Yeah. So me personally,
I told him you wanted a number 4, I believe is what we're at now.
Whatever
combo,
next.
biggie size.
Oh, they're doing the up and smoke.
Yeah, we're gonna get a little weird.
Yeah.
Whatever's next.
All right. So
this is your bar, your cocktails, and
well, you're
we let the
ordering,
people know.
so I'm making sure that we get you something that's delicious.
This one's just.
I want to try what you
got. It
got.
looks so cool. You know, it looks so cool. It does kind of give a
Matt,
nod to another Green Room.
Matt really went off on it too. I mean, there's 2 different milks in it, right, Matt?
Milk was a bad choice.
Yeah, right.
In this case, it was a delicious choice.
Well, I guess we'll talk a little bit about the cocktail while they're making it.
Sure, absolutely.
So it is a tequila-based cocktail.
Perfect.
So we're keeping with the agave
another tequila base, which is fine. That seriously, I'm not a tequila fan, but that
so
was really good.
This is not tequila.
Yes, it's mezcal.
Correct.
So, yeah.
It is a very different
bold.
thing. Yeah. Mezcal, like I said, own thing. What we're doing next, true tequila, agave, delicious. It's called Up and Smoke. What it is the best way to describe it, kind of like nice and easy or whatever.
Is that a Cheech and Chong reference?
Oh yeah, buddy, it is.
Nice.
It is.
You got us.
Every time I serve it, it's just like, hey yo, here's a nod to the boys, Cheech and Chong. Up and Smoke. You'll see the garnish and the prep. It's kind of a fun little play that we did.
Another stretch on Green Room.
Yeah. But it's a
we do
tequila
that
base.
throughout with our beer as well.
That's usually what happened in the green rooms. So.
Exactly. Yeah.
It makes sense.
Yeah, just green all over. But tequila, pineapple. We do a coconut puree as well as a coconut milk, fresh squeezed lime. So the best way that I can describe it, like simplistically, is a tequila pina colada. Then we also have a wonderful simple that I make in house that is a blackberry and currant simple. That is interesting. That adds a nice little kind of funky sweetness to it. But it should be coming up here momentarily. But
just take the last little swig of this.
It's really good. It's really good.
But yeah, so that's the Up and Smoke. Pretty straightforward cocktail. And this is very different than the things that you've had thus far. Once again, kind of just going.
Yeah, so far all the cocktails that I've had. We've had have been vastly different,
and that's the idea, because once again, trying to paint that very different brush stroke. What it comes down to is your mouth's not my mouth. We like different things.
Right.
Our palates are different. So being able to have
I've hated peas as a kid, and I'm still not going to eat peas today in this world. I'll have it with some fried rice, but that's about it.
Yeah,
What
every few little rice
The
kernels.
stew. There you go.
What about like edamame? Are you an edamame guy?
I do edamame. That's
Okay.
good. Yeah, I like that. But
Salty.
just straight peas,
No.
Just a little mushy.
What
Just a
about
little
butter
mushy.
and bacon on
They
those
don't
things?
taste like anything.
Is
No,
it
they
a-
taste like peas.
Is it
just
is
like
it a
milk
texture
tastes like
thing?
milk.
Is it a texture thing or like a flavor thing?
It's a flavor thing. For
It's a
sure.
flavor thing,
It's
okay.
totally a flavor thing.
It's good for him.
It's okay in, like I said, fried rice and stuff like that.
Right.
I mean, it's
Well, you
just like
expect it.
Yeah.
It's like everything else. It has its purpose in certain places.
Exactly.
And yeah, so that's the idea behind our menu. We have something that is kind of light bright. We have something that's a little fruity. We have something that's a little bit more bold. We have something that's a little bit more funky, something that you've never had before. And just trying to hit all these different kind of little sectors to have something available that will either push somebody outside of their comfort zone and try something new. I'm a bit of a pusher myself.
Like that
No,
one.
I'm watching.
That
that
was-
Yeah. That is the ideal.
Yeah,
picture for that.
I'm a bit of a pusher, and there's nothing wrong with drinking a Bud Light. There's nothing wrong with drinking a vodka soda. Like, I'm 100% okay with making everything and anything. But I'm
So
also
this is the number 5?
no.
More
So-
about the story. More about
Oh, the story. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just really about like getting people out of their comfort zones once we develop that relationship. I mean, you come in here, you start chatting with me or a couple of my bartenders, you feel that sense of community and you start trusting us a little bit more, and then that
You have to earn that. You have to earn that, though. You don't get that when you walk into a bar. You don't know who's behind the bar. You don't know what their experience level is. So maybe it's the second or third time and you've drank a lot of hams. It's like, you like hams. Have you tried a cocktail here?
You order an old fashioned and you find out what the level is.
I want to know your name and
you know-
your flavor profile. Or like when you walk into the bar and order the Sazerac, and they just know you.
Or you see
want the
our,
absinthe in
see
there.
our whiskeys, and you see that we've been here 30 days, and we already got like 30 of them.
We're at 45 whiskeys right now.
That is an extravagant.
And we will get those allocated whiskeys. If any of
is
our
that like a
distributors
pinky
are-
up kind of drink there?
No, not at all. It is just slam it. It's delicious.
What is that? A chocolate straw?
So ode to our boys Cheech and Chong.
Zoom in.
I know.
I got zoomed in here.
So basically, what we wanted to do is we wanted to play with the name Green Room. Obviously, I feel like if anybody's in the know of the news, there is marijuana legalized everywhere in the country, pretty much,
except for Nebraska.
Except for Nebraska. So we.
But I did hear that they're going to legalize hemp. So I mean, it's kind of on the start.
Hemp is on the ballot. But anyways, besides the point, what we wanted to do is be playful, and the idea of Cheech and Chong is I wanted to look like it's served with a blunt, like to be
kind
of funny.
Nice.
Ode to our, like I said, our boys Cheech and Chong. So what it is just a little snack during the cocktail.
You can eat that.
Oh yeah, it's
very
actually
edible.
It is a cookie. The best way to describe it is it's like a rolled Oreo. It's delicious. So here, boys, slide that back. Let the bees try it.
Oh boy.
So that simple syrup's what you're seeing at the bottom there.
I don't.
Oh, Britt, you
wow.
got to bust off the cookie.
Oh wow.
Thank you.
Because why not?
Oh man.
I mean, you weren't kidding with the rolled Oreo.
Yeah,
That's a perfect
good.
description.
We searched for so long to find the right blunt cookie. It was stupid. Because we had some kind of funky weird stuff, but it is a very pronounced color to look like a certain thing like that. Obviously, I'm not promoting anything because it is illegal in the state of Nebraska,
Especially at the Green Room.
But it's a dessert cocktail. It's a good after dinner.
I wouldn't go the far as saying dessert cocktail. I think that it has some sweetness to it, just to hit that flavor profile that we haven't hit thus far this evening.
It's great.
It is
It's fantastic.
Yeah,
He loves it.
This is.
I do. I love that.
This is probably one of our top sellers, to be honest with you.
And
a
it's
little
pink.
more intensive than some of the rest have been, I would say.
Yeah,
But
it's kind of like you going into a bar and you order Ramos Gin Fizz egg white cocktail. Like, it's one of those things. It's a little bit more labor intensive on our side of things, but the extra 5-10 second wait is worth it because it is tasty.
too, to say, if we would say we would have filled a menu full of drinks like this, people would have came in here and their wait would have been long. They would have been like, sure, the drinks are great if you can get one. So
If you wanna wait for one.
this is things that Matt's really good with. Having bartended, having made these drinks.
We don't run 20-minute ticket times here.
It's
got to be built for speed.
Simplicity, knowing your ingredients goes a long way into helping deliver on a quality menu. And like I said, this is just our first foray into it. We're here for a long time.
Our big thing is being in the theater district and calling ourselves a Green Room. We obviously have to have some theatrical
sure.
aspect to our cocktails.
Have you? So because
Where's the Phantom?
Orpheum's right there.
It's coming. It's coming.
Have you had
Man, don't
actors?
be giving away all my secrets
Wait
already.
till the
We're
Lion
just
King
waiting
comes
for
through.
Orpheum
Wait
to,
till the Lion King comes through.
we got Simba.
Have you had actors come through? From
Yeah,
Orpheum?
we actually what was the Bronx Tale was this last week or the week before or something like that.
Do you make special? Because I know Orpheum theater shows go late. So do you make special provisions, like you say, open later? Because
No,
We're
we
open
so
till
our
2 every
hours are going to be basically set in stone.
Okay.
We open at 3 p.m. and we close at, well, for public, obviously I'm not out of here till 4 a.m. doing work or whatever, but we close at 2.
Okay.
And we will, I'm going on record to say this, we will never close early.
Maybe earlier.
No, we're
Open
bar.
earlier.
People depend on the bar. I mean, if you show up to a bar and say it's a snowy, blizzardy night and they're not open, that comes off your top 3 list of places you go. So people need to be able to depend on their bar, not only just to get their booze and to get their social aspect,
and
but
to get in the
gotta be
dark,
open.
and to get in the dark side of the industry. People come to these places and it's their one day off. Every time you come into one of these places, for Matt, sometimes it's 7 days a week. For me, sometimes it's 7. It never ends here.
So
Death or taxes.
You
and
guys
our
were
bar
saying
open.
this is a spot, that you want to be
Consistent.
theater comes in town, they're going to come here.
We did a
which
curtain
which
cocktail
actually
series.
is a true statement for in New York. I believe it's called the Green Room. If it's not, it's called the Side Door or something like that.
There's several green rooms.
But I believe
across
it's
the
called the
United
Green
States.
Room, and it's a true place in New York City, and they will go there and have a cocktail, and they have like a phone or some kind of radio system that's hooked up to all of the theaters. And
Oh,
so
there you
like
go.
you're called up on the stage.
You're
in
on
5
at
minutes.
15.
Time to go to work.
You see them running out of the bar like, I'm on here in 15 minutes.
Yeah, so like I mean to touch on that a little bit, like we'll get some like actors, crew, things like that.
Yeah.
I mean, we're more.
How do you hashtag that?
We're
how do you hashtag that to get them here?
Hashtag famous.
It's I mean, it's
You're
one of
right down
those
the
things
street.
where like it's happenstance.
Yeah.
So they'll show up because
You're right here.
We are who we are. Like here, it's not
Well,
like
you're
I'm
close by.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily trying to promote to get the main character from Lion King to show up at my bar. Like that's not what we're doing.
Not that out of costume, people may not even know.
I
know?
mean, it's
And we want to treat them like that too.
it's what it is we are here to treat like the real the real people. The obviously the performers are doing the performers thing. The population down here, like
They live
at least
down
in this block,
They live down here.
doubles when a good show shows up.
Absolutely.
So like Wicked, Lion King, all sorts of crazy stuff that comes through the Orpheum. Any sort of like rock show.
All across
Miz.
Omaha.
Yeah,
all across all of Nebraska,
everybody,
really.
yeah, everybody just crashes this neighborhood and like we need stuff to do. So like us, Mercury, Monarch,
And
Wilson
for the
and
longest time,
Washburn.
there hasn't been a lot to do.
Wicked
to be
Rabbit.
honest.
Yeah, all of these people just like get slammed because Friday night show, let's go, and there's hundreds of people, sold out show.
So, are you guys avidly watching what shows are coming
Oh,
up?
I know exactly.
we
I know their
base our
schedule.
schedules off it.
Base whether it be
Good.
some sort of theatrical performance, if it's a rock show, if it's some sort of like
Even
magic
comedians
thing.
come here.
Yeah,
We-
comedians.
We built a bar
and-
to go with that is we want this bar to be able to evolve. We're not here for 3 years or 5 years. We're here for
if
20.
we're stagnant, we're dying. That's pretty much my view on it.
No.
So as bar culture evolves, I'm not drinking the same things I was 10, 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah,
I
no.
assume you guys aren't drinking the same
Ice
things
House?
either.
Is it-
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
The
Throwback.
the boliche, the
the
Iche.
Sixer Ice House gets it done.
Hey, I used to drink Corona back in the day.
Yeah.
that
See,
was
I
my
still
stuff.
drink Corona.
So over time, this place
I
will
hear there's a
evolve. We'll add
riot
more to
virus though, so we shouldn't do that anymore.
Comes with Lyme disease, actually. Hey.
that was
See
good.
what
That was
you did
good.
But we want to be able to evolve with not only the community, but with ourselves. That's like Andy said. If we get stagnant, we're taking a step backwards.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't
Can I get back to this drink real quick?
Yeah,
what do we got?
So I went into this telling you that I'm not a tequila fan. Like,
Until now.
so this is very palatable. It's like the tequila. I can pick it out right
This is-
away.
But this is once again where this ice that we've chosen comes into play.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you were your big thick cubes, it's not going to dilute as fast. So it's still going to stay cold and it's still going to be diluted. Usually you only have the option of your drink being really cold or diluted. This gives you a nice steady flow into it.
For sure. And I would say that like this to me is like what I would drink as a margarita. Like this
Yeah.
cookie here with this drink is
Oh,
amazing.
phenomenal.
Amazing.
Nailed it.
Just to throw this out there, these plastic straws are biodegradable as well.
Perfect.
Yes. Well, actually, that's a thing now.
We are the Green Room, so
Yeah,
we
yeah.
better have biodegradable. And we'll keep working towards that. I think we need to get a recycling program here. We're 6 weeks in. Give us.
Just go back to
us a minute.
stagnation and stuff like that. If John
Smith?
John J. Public.
comes
Yeah.
in here 5 times a week
trust us.
and John really likes something and John's like, hey, can you get that for me? This is where the neighborhood aspect comes in. Hey, John, damn
Well,
right,
yeah,
I'm
if you're
gonna
gonna
get.
keep
damn
coming
right,
over here and buying it, sure, I'll get it
damn
for
right,
you.
I'm gonna get it for you. But there's places you could go into in Omaha that they're like great, and they want to push what they have to sell on you. I'm not here to do that, and I want you to tell me what you want so I can get it for you. This is a lot of places I get really angered about. I'm a huge service person. Matt's a huge service person. Nate's a huge service person. You can call this thing, it's most commonly called the service industry, but that's
I
short
work
for
at the largest event center in Omaha.
Yeah,
I'm a
it's-
service
it's-
person as well.
Yeah, but it's all customer service. You were telling me the
Absolutely.
story about the light fixture the other day. That stuff is customer service. Like I'm
I'm gonna get a buzzer for you.
yeah.
We need him on a delay.
These are things that are near and dear to my heart. Service, I take.
Brian.
I take super serious.
69.
Oh, I got it.
96 and 112.
Perfect timing. Yeah, I mean, it
I'm
is
a sailor.
It is a thing that is
122, my fault. Not 112.
It's something that we drive really hard, is the customer service aspect of it. At the end of the day, the best way that I can kind of describe what my job is. Yeah, I pour drinks. I make things taste good. I do some weird stuff. It's awesome. But at the end of the day, what it is we are cultivating an experience.
Yeah.
I'm trying.
We are selling an experience.
I'm trying to throw a party, and if you want to show up, like, cool, let's have some fun.
Speaking of throwing a party, I was in here the other day, and I was chatting with a financial gentleman. You guys, all know.
Mr. Marshall, probably.
Eric.
Smart dude.
So you guys are going to do an event. Summer, and I potentially am going to help you guys out with that. Do we want to talk on that a little bit?
Yeah.
I mean, it's in the works, but we can't say that it's 100% for sure yet.
We've had
I
some
would say
big backing. We've had some really big backing. So what we're going to do is a block party. I mean,
That's
it's basically what
awesome.
it is. But it's going to be a 16th
put up some
Street style
barricades.
block party. We've got blessings from the neighborhood association. It's still in its infancy. So I don't know how much we can
got
talk
Alexander
about it.
Payne behind
We'll
us.
talk about it. It may or
that's
may
gonna
not
help.
happen, but we're working to that thing.
I will interject and say it will happen, but when is the question? We are pushing.
what it's gonna be.
We are pushing really hard as a collective, as the Orpheum District, to make this thing happen. It's been talked about.
So you guys trying to get local bands, out of town bands?
Well,
what are you trying to do?
it's
we get
it's
limited by our time. Speaking
still
of,
up in the
Omaha
air.
legend, there's Dario from Dario's Bracery right there.
There
And
you
a
go.
Bully Oyster,
I guess.
You let Dario pop in.
Hey, Dario, you in? Did you win?
Drink Talk Podcast.
Okay.
Did you win the burger competition?
I think so. I don't think. No, really.
No, nobody knows yet.
Dario, I've had your burger and I would eat it in a heartbeat, and it's awesome.
I mean, few people eating
That
my burger.
Dario's or a Voli. Did I say that right?
There's no wrong way of saying it.
Yeah, both awesome
as long as
places.
you're talking about it, right?
Some of the best Italian in all of Omaha, I think. I just went there like 2 weeks ago.
Dario's great.
Agree, man.
You should. You put a lot of work into it. Welcome to our place. You're at the Green Room.
Awesome.
I don't know if you've been here before.
No.
It's
Yeah,
brand spanking new.
And we just
new.
threw him into the podcast.
I don't know why you just threw you into a
Yeah,
podcast,
welcome.
but
You know why Dario does a lot of awesome things at Dario's. Like, he has a lot of awesome beers on tap.
Really? I didn't even know.
Yeah,
I didn't know Dario's had beer on
Yeah,
tap.
super great deals on Tuesday
Well,
too, right?
yeah. Well, we have beers on top, but we have almost 80 Belgian beers in bottles.
Super awesome.
Oh,
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Some of the best beer in Omaha, I would say.
I agree.
And you were doing it a long time before almost anybody else was.
We-
He doesn't even know he's inspiration.
Well, we would bring them ourselves. They didn't
Yeah.
exist in the state of Nebraska.
Yeah,
Yeah.
super great. You can go there on Tuesdays, and I think I don't.
Yeah,
wanna
right
say it
now.
wrong.
Yeah, right now we have
I
a
won't say it.
special with beer, burger, and ice cream.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
his burgers are phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Hands down, one of the best burgers in Omaha.
And fries too.
Yep. I
All of
would
the
agree
above.
with that.
Yeah.
But they're
Hello.
frites, aren't they?
Well, they're frites.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So just skinny French fries. That's what I consider them. He's probably got a more technical term.
frites.
Sure.
Delicious.
Yeah.
Delicious.
Delicious is a good one.
It's delicious. Yeah.
It is, very good.
delicious size. Yeah.
Yep, very good, very awesome food. I had those the
Speaking-
steamed mussels with
Steamed mussels?
with the leeks and that was delicious.
Yeah.
Like,
We have mussel pots, and then we have mussel platters. Too.
yeah, very awesome, very
What's
good.
our next big thing coming up? We got St. Patty's Day, ain't? You got some
St.
specials?
Patrick's Day, we do specials. Then Dandelion is coming up too.
Yeah,
on
Dandelion
Thur-
pop-up
yeah,
again.
that's happening again. That's thing. So we'll see.
Hey,
we get dates.
let us know if we can do anything here at
Yeah.
the Green Room. I don't know if we could maybe help you advertise for it.
Yeah. They just started. Yeah, there's the winner right there. yeah.
They got the
Yeah.
awards in the background.
So you guys were at Block 16 tonight.
Just
just
done.
just got done, and they had a
Yeah.
little burger
Block
competition.
Little
16
burger.
champion.
Block 16. Yeah, touch that. Yeah, there you go.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
But either way,
Yeah.
Block 16, Dario's, all these places
Awesome.
are super awesome
Fuck
in
yeah,
Omaha.
man.
And Omaha, Omaha. I think Omaha's food crushes.
I agree. That's why we're here, man.
Yep, for certain.
I guess this is the thing, I suppose. We're doing it. Whatever.
What are we doing now?
Whatever happens.
Apparently, we're just gonna talk to
Yeah, what are we gonna talk about now?
Yeah. I mean, we can talk about Dario's. I think Dario is trying to do has done and is doing something like we want to be here. We want to be I like to call it an urban drinking institution because we're urbanly located and you can come in here and get a wide array of things. Dario executes this stuff super well with Dario's Bracery and then Avoli.
Yeah.
His like I said, his Italian food, I'd put it up against anybody's in Omaha.
True. That's why we did it. I mean,
no, it's
why
awesome.
else do it?
And that's I think what Matt and I definitely feel like we're gonna do tree sap liqueur drinks.
Yeah.
Why? Because we can.
And no one else is doing it.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you're gonna do anything, why not try and be the best at what you're doing?
Yep.
Why mess around with
Why do it?
And then honestly, you go into any of Dario's places and you're just gonna see a ton of books. You come in here, you're going to see books, and they're going to be books on what we're trying to do and what we're trying to learn. I'm not sitting here saying the Green Room is the foremost expert on anything, but I learned something from a book, or I took something that I learned and made it my own.
Yeah. Look at this guy. That's what you'll learn today. Yeah.
Just pull up, yeah.
Well, all right.
How you doing? Welcome to the program.
I know, right?
It's chaos.
This is just going all sorts of ways.
I can't even get you on camera. I mean, better off here.
Yeah.
No, this is exactly where I want to be.
Off camera.
Yeah, I know.
He's the narrator. Just become the narrator.
I am the Wizard of Oz. Yes. Don't pull back the.
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Exactly.
All right.
All right.
Apparently.
So, what was this award you guys just brought in here? What's that all about?
Well, introduce yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Paul Kulik. I'm a chef restaurateur of a couple restaurants here in Omaha. Via Farina, Le Bouillon. Yeah. I'm a little light.
There we go, yeah. Eat the microphone.
So,
don't eat the burger, eat the microphone.
And so, my appetite is full. So, just settle down. Not everything has to be okay.
But maybe tonight.
The banquet is awesome. All right.
You notice how I'm keeping the label facing the other direction.
No sponsorship included.
No, exactly. Until Coors is ready to pony up.
You know how to do it. It's beautiful. It's great.
So Dario, myself, Nick Strawhecker, were invited by Block 16 to do. I think this is the third burger fight. I don't know when this probably started last year, and then it took a little
few years ago. I think it was the first one. Yeah.
Well, the first time they approached me was last fall.
Okay. Yeah.
And this is the Over 40 Club. Is that fair to say?
I started it. Yeah.
And and Nick, you may have seen him prancing through. I don't know if the camera caught it.
So it's really sweaty and hot and over 40 flavor. In the kitchen. Yeah.
The DHT was flowing.
Yeah, great DNA exposure.
But what are you guys talking about? I didn't mean it.
No,
we were just talking about this place and drinks and all that stuff.
And then you guys walked in, and then
now we're on Coors Light.
Basically, we need a drink.
We have some of the best chefs in the city walk into our place. And hey, we're talking about cool stuff, so maybe you guys want to talk about your spot for like a quick second, and then obviously we're not trying to have you come in and like work more. You guys already slaved away, making some stuff, but just want to have you like throw in a couple, shout outs to your people and things like that. Just to kind of reiterate what we're trying to do with the Green Room and the community.
Represent the community.
Yeah, represent the community. You guys are doing awesome stuff in the community, and just throwing out a little something, and then we'll leave you alone. You guys can go drink.
Well, if you're in Dundee right now, come down to Green Room. We'll be drinking Coors.
We're downtown.
For 4 minutes. And then we'll switch. Yeah.
That's the banquet there. That's not the Coors Light. That's the banquet.
The banquet's extra tasty.
It is. It really is.
I want to say this about. So when it comes to restaurants and beverage, which is a little bit different than cocktail bars or bars in general, that Dario and I have talked about this actually a few times. Probably 13 years ago, roughly 13, 14 years ago. Yeah. The concept of having a beverage program that was in step with what you were trying to do food-wise was utterly foreign and incomprehensible in this market.
Oh, totally.
And the person who kind of planted a flag was ready to say no a bazillion times to people Oh, hey. Oh, dear. Oh, look at this disaster. Just hi, everybody.
See what can happen on these? Just anything can happen, right?
Well, you put it in the front, by the front door of a good bar. And so
the best shot.
That willingness to take a stance, that willingness to, educate the diner, not seem hopelessly pretentious doing it, certainly was an inspiration to me. I've approached it from a different angle with different beverages, but I think a lot of other people are taking up that banner, and it makes a sizable difference.
Well, you have to have a great drink program if you're going to serve good food. Otherwise, it's not a whole package.
It's one of those things where it's like it's the yin to the yang. Like what better pair in the world than is food and bev? Like that's what we do. And being able to complement flavors, change flavors, things like that with your beverage program for what you guys are doing with the food aspect, like it changes the game. It just elevates everything.
Well, at Dario's, like literally, beer dictates what we're gonna cook. I think beer came first, then food came second.
So you're saying the chefs are drinking and then they make the food?
Yeah. When I tasted beer first time, I'm like, oh, what can I eat with this?
Yeah.
And that's delicious.
That's a beautiful way to approach it.
Yeah.
The reality is that if you start to think about your dining experience, and you don't take beverage into account, and then all of a sudden do for some reason, you can't ever unring that bell. And so diners who get that
you set a bar, that expectations, you have to keep delivering.
Exactly.
There's that, but also just I think that more and more diners have to. How do you? It's a slow process. This isn't the most dynamic market. This isn't where people rush to the newest trends or whatever.
But if you can make it in Omaha, you're going to make it anywhere.
I think that's a fair point.
Man, we've got so many restaurants per capita.
I agree.
Yeah. If you can make it here, you're doing all right for yourself. Try, go ahead and expand now.
Yeah. Every market has its challenges.
Grand Island next.
Yeah.
There you go.
Right, Dario's Hastings. Watch out, guys.
We'll have the train run
Dario's
back and forth.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there we go. I think the point about beverage, which this is ultimately a beverage podcast. I think that food always grew congruous to whatever beverages were local. We both have a kind of a European culinary background, and so it's just kind of incomprehensible that you would, not think about or just not naturally have something that would guide what you're going to eat based off of what you're going to drink. And it doesn't have to be like somebody in a suit and a tie kind of opening a bottle of wine. It can be something a little bit more simplistic, but the idea that it would be tailored or packaged together, I think that started with that guy. And and then it's broadened since then, but it's a big thing. It's a huge part of Le Bouillon.
10 points there.
A huge part of Via Farina. It was a huge part of Boiler Room. And I think a lot of other people kind of believe in it too.
And I think that I'm actually really happy that you brought all that up, because we were talking about earlier how what we do here is done with intent. You guys are doing the same thing. You're just you're doing the food aspect and the bev, and that's even more of a can of worms to mess around
then
with.
There needs to be a reason why you do certain
everything
things.
has
You
to
can
have
just
a
do
reason.
things for sake of doing it. There needs to be a reason.
100%
needs to
agree
be
with you.
background,
Yeah.
and needs to be passion.
Yeah, and I think that I've had both of y'all's food, and I think that your guys' passion does come through the food.
I hope so.
I will say that, and it's awesome to see and refreshing to it completely changes the meal when you can taste that. And that's that secret sauce per se of all of your guys' years of experience of doing what you're doing and feeling that, tasting that, experiencing that, and then me being a beverage guy, comboing that with the booze on the backside, it's just a beautiful experience at both of your guys' places. It's fantastic.
Here, we're very fortunate. We live in a prosperous time, a prosperous era, a prosperous country, and we don't have to kind of consider that our alcohol is part of our caloric minimum intake per day. It is a lifestyle. So when you go out to eat, and when you go out and where you go and what drinks you get, it's a lifestyle piece. And so the idea that you can have kind of a full, you do kind of from the moment you wake up the coffee that's like made by people who give a shit about coffee.
Exactly.
The lunch, you know what I mean? Like the whole program, like every day, all day, you could go to the places. You can tailor your day to stick with places populated by people who actually give a fuck about what they're trying to do.
Yeah,
And,
totally.
and you can. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people who still haven't quite captured the idea that that's worth something, that there's an intangible. That'll come along because I think it is a team effort. You know, you talk about passion, you talk about that starts, I think, from proprietors and then bleeds through the team. You try to get everybody on the same page. It's not always easy. It's not always linear.
Definitely not always easy.
Yeah.
Getting everyone on the same page to do the same thing.
Probably definitionally super hard.
Yeah. In any line of work, any type of business.
But at the end of the day, like why are you killing yourself to find new beer? Why or a new product or new dish? Like why
Because
bother?
it's delicious.
Because it's delicious.
Because you
Makes sense.
Well said.
Makes sense.
Well, you
Yeah.
want it. You want it. You want to have it. And
I
so,
want to have it.
yeah.
That's what I want to eat and drink. That's why I do it. Because it makes me happy and hopefully translates to everybody else.
Well, and I think
Yeah.
history has showed that that's what makes a lot of people happy.
Well, yeah.
Obviously,
Yeah.
as long as you've been around.
You don't do things just for sake of doing it or to be cool or to impress somebody. That's, you know what that means. You're done in 2 years. But if
Yeah.
you do something you believe in and you enjoy and you want to consume
When you're
it
trying to
yourself,
impress your own self
Yeah.
and not someone
that
else.
makes sense. Yeah. So that's how we started, and that's what we still do every day. So simple.
Paul, you said something last Christmas. We had a dinner. It was the Maven Christmas dinner. You
Yeah.
talked about improving your quality of life through, 1 or 2 meals a week. And over the course of a lifetime, how much that can improve your quality of life. And like you said, it really comes down. I'm going to cuss here, Britt, so get ready to beat
That's
this.
all right.
Sorry, I dropped a couple too.
No, it's all right.
We're in the 140s right now. We're all right.
But
I think I think
None of it's making it.
I think
into
at
the
this
podcast.
point we'll just let it roll.
You
It's fine.
made a quote a long time ago that with your entertainment dollars, like why would you choose to spend them in a place that doesn't care? Whether I'm not going to name names, but whether that's an Applebee's or a
totally.
Chili's,
Life is too short.
people pour their
No.
heart and soul into.
It's a super interesting thing. I think about this. I meditate because it's such a hard puzzle to crack. There are a lot of places that care about the guest as a kind of a metaphor for all the people who walk through the door, but don't care about you as the guest. So the guest matters to us.
But who is the guest?
Here, yeah, exactly. Like here at Lone Star Steakhouse, we care about the guest, but they don't actually care about you as a guest, which is a kind of opposite of like
As
the
an
definite
individual.
versus the definite and indefinite article. Yeah, because you as a singular person are walking in to like an 18-and-a-half-year-old host who doesn't care about what's going on. Nobody cares about what's going on. Maybe there are a couple of people who just like, yeah, there's a great, there's a chance to grow in the company or whatever. Like, in the reality is there are a ton of places where you get to spend, like, you can go to tailors who will custom, effectively, or kind of like making full bespoke, clothing for you at less or effectively the same
But it
price.
fits you perfect.
Yeah, exactly. Or you learn how like materials feel that are high quality. And sometimes high quality is an interesting thing. I don't think that quality is something that is a matter of taste. Like taste is, when you say that someone has good taste, you're not saying that they have, all you're saying is that they have the ability to distinguish between things that have quality and things that don't have quality. I think that's an objective thing. And, you can't argue people that have bad taste because people are very exuberant about the things that they like. But you can like things that are of poor quality. If you have good taste, you happen to like things that have high quality. Sometimes things that have high quality are difficult to kind of digest initially. Think about the first time you had beer. Think about the first time. There's a lot of things.
we were talking about this earlier tonight. Everyone has a different taste bud. So something that I like may not be something that
And
my
it's,
wife likes.
it's good
or
to have
someone else.
options too.
Exactly. Everybody has different taste buds or different flavors or different likenesses of,
So this is
Different. You're going to experience the same thing differently.
What I'm saying though is controversial because I'm saying that yes, everybody has different taste buds.
You
but,
can love a Bud Light. You can.
but it's not.
But
But
not
that,
me.
But
I'm
that,
not going
but
to.
that doesn't make it good.
Right. Correct.
You love
Like
the
this.
banquet. I mean, it's Coors.
But so there's a time and place for banquet. But I'm not going to say. I'm not going to say that this and delirium are the same. Of the same.
No way. Caliber? No.
And why not? It's like, well, we can all say because of the amount of work that it takes, the selection, the malts,
the years that they put into it.
Yeah, 100%. The expertise that's required.
But I'm not going to drink a delirium after I mow the lawn. It's not.
Right. There's a time and a place,
right.
And so I
otherwise I'd mow the lawn off more often.
all day.
Every day.
Unless you want to see pink elephants.
The poor kid up the street just lost his job because I drank delirium.
When you have the most manicured lawn in the neighborhood, we'll
he
know
drinks
exactly,
delirium
know
after
exactly what's going on. Like,
Delirium kind of guy.
He's been a Dario, just like sucking back happy hour. That's the tricky thing is that when it's not like every place that's great has to be expensive. It takes time and high quality products that are expensive usually to deliver quality things, and so there might be a price tag that's a little bit elevated as a result. But what's astonishing to me, and this is I think from the economics of restaurants, which are so perverse and so upside down and really just like are puzzling and infuriating, that when you look around the landscape of people who are in the restaurant business, if they're independent owners and operators of restaurants, they're probably not driving gold-plated Cadillacs. They're probably you're probably like doing okay maybe, or it's like
got a Volkswagen.
But the guy who owns 7 McDonald's, he's killing it.
Volume.
Like that person's killing it. No, but my point is, you think that as a consumer, like
I know the guy who owns all the Burger Kings here in town. He's doing all right driving a Maserati.
Right. But my point is that the consumer looks at the Burger King and says, "I'm getting a great deal. I'm getting a great deal."
But are you?
But actually, it's like the guy is laughing all the way to the bank because you're supposedly like you're cheap. You're $5.
He's got a marble floor in his garage. I mean, I ain't got that.
He probably has a bidet. I bet he's got a bidet.
His son's got a Maserati. I'm sure
I bet his Maserati has a bidet.
He probably does.
So I've got a little bit of a story here. So Britt and I, we're brothers here. I mean, you're new to the podcast here. So we grew up.
The world's problems wondering.
Oh, thank you guys for joining in, by the way. I know I kind of grabbed you off kilter, but
so welcome.
Good to meet you both.
Yeah, we grew up going to a Greek restaurant. And in North Omaha.
Jim and Jenny's.
Yes, Jim and Jenny's in North Omaha.
Boy, people talk about that all the time.
And so, like
it's a great place, though.
Yeah. I have memories of our family sitting around a table and Jim and Jenny sitting with us because we were the only people in the restaurant. And now, like, they've expanded into multiple bays, and he still walks to work every day.
Nice.
And that's just what they do. And they take a year off and they go to Greece, to back home in the summer. And are they doing well for each other? Well, I mean, they're doing well enough to go to Greece for a month.
Well, yeah,
send their kids to college.
Yeah. It's not like they have to be like living on the street. But my point is for the people who think that a restaurant's ripping them off. The people they're just there's a lot of price sensitivity. This is Nebraska. We have very pragmatic. We have very
cost of a steak here versus on the coast.
No, but I'm just saying people are very pragmatic about
getting a good one on the coast is a tough thing.
Well, but we have.
I'll take fish.
Well, it's really a stupid idea. Oh, let me open a restaurant and rip people off every day. That's great business.
But it's
plan.
also how restaurants.
Dario, who does that?
But you know this because the restaurant we met at did that to people every day.
Yes.
And that's kind of how restaurants were for a long time.
There were no options.
There were no options.
Yeah.
And it might last for a while, but it's not going to make the mainstay.
Yeah.
For sure.
But it was unfortunately, I think, the thing that destroyed the credibility for the current era of restaurants. I think if you look at menus, I'm sorry to kind of always everything that I've been talking about with the restaurants keeps coming back down. Instead of like the fun kind of macro cultural parts of it, I want to talk about the economics because the economics are perverse. It doesn't make sense that if you look at menus from the mid 1990s from the restaurants, some of which are still around, but the iconic Omaha restaurants, maybe not the Jim and Jenny's, but you think about the Cafe de Copia,
which is not their real name, by the way. I mean, they're actually from Greece.
I suspect, there's probably an abbreviation there.
Yeah.
But you look at the Cafe de Copias, the V Mertz at the time, the Cafe de Brie, in real dollars. Those menus were 50% more expensive than in real dollars the menus of like the fancy places right now.
Food costs have gone up.
Because they didn't have competition. They were
more expensive then. They were 50% more expensive in the mid 90s in those dollars, not in like adjusted for inflation because I can't do that over the top of my head. I'm saying that you were spending like $64 for a rack of lamb at the French Cafe in 2002 or whatever.
My uncle.
That's what I'm just saying. It's totally insane.
Our uncle did the lighting for the French Cafe, by the way.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Britt actually did the lighting for my last 4 bars. So
bingo.
There's the tie.
Well done. Yeah.
You need a lighting guy? This is your guy.
Give me a card. But so this is what I think, and and I know those restaurants. I grew up cooking in those restaurants. They didn't use quality product. They used fake bases. It was like.
But also, on the other hand, make it easier for us to come underneath that and say, okay, here's a better food for less money.
That's exactly.
Someone has to lay the foundation.
Yeah, they make it a lot easier when we open Dario's versus other French restaurants in town. Oh, I can get better food for less money, and I actually can see person cooking it.
It's like
whose name is on it,
and it's actual real food.
Yeah.
Made from
that's
real
a game
stuff.
changer right there when you put your name on your food.
Yeah.
You were talking earlier about the owner of the Burger King that drives a Maserati. I don't know who that
His
is.
son actually drives a Maserati.
Oh, God. The
Wow.
luck of the draw.
Well, he also owns, what's the Mexican place? Taco John's.
Okay.
Taco John. I think he owns Jimmy John's as well.
Yeah.
So like he's got
all the
Taco
Joneses,
John's.
yeah.
And I'm a capitalist, so let's not get that wrong. I'm a capitalist.
I'm just
in a
saying,
very
he's
shy margin
Very
industry.
wealthy man in a wealthy neighborhood. So
Well, and I'm not trying to listen. I'm not trying to disparage anyone. I'm just saying,
Correct.
if you are a customer and you think, like, "Hey, where's my dollar? Where does it like have the most impact? Where do I get the biggest bang for my buck?" And you think, "Oh, well, actually, prices at fast food restaurants haven't changed. The cost of a Whopper, the out-of-pocket expense of a Whopper hasn't changed in like 20 years. It's, a Happy Meal costs basically what a Happy Meal did 15 years ago. My wages haven't grown, so like that's where I think my best value is.
and it's
something
gotten
like that.
healthier.
That could be, but the products.
Well, I mean, they've got applesauce and it's gotten a little healthier.
Yogurt.
That's
true.
yogurt.
Yeah.
That's true. No, I mean they're
Processed food still.
Bloomberg did a lot of work in New York. so all that stuff. It just from the consumer, you think, well, why would I spend this money at like even a Dario's if I can go? Why would I buy a Dario burger when I can get a McDonald's burger or something
$7
like that?
fries? Yeah.
Why like that doesn't compute? And
Well,
Until you have
let's
one.
put that in this show right now. Why would I go to another bar to get another drink somewhere else when I can come here?
We didn't.
Very true.
Touche.
Okay. I mean,
We knew exactly what's happening here. I'm like, let's walk in, Paul. There's microphones. There's the guys with the earphones.
Is this your first time in here?
Take it.
Yes,
We're
yes,
actually
yeah.
first
Well,
time.
welcome to our house. Thank you guys for
And
stopping
we
by.
threw you on the microphones on the spot. Nice. Well done.
I'm so used to just
Well
being
done.
shackled
No,
to
I
my-
saw two guys who really care about what they do, and they do a very good job. But
This is just
thank you,
our
man.
side. This is our side business. This is
No.
not what we normally do. Brian has a full-time job, and I got a full-time job. This is just.
But we had
on the
to
side.
give these guys a shout out because what they're doing in Omaha is kind of unrivaled. I don't want to say unrivaled because there's a lot of people in Omaha doing incredible things, and they're putting their names behind it, they're putting their families behind it, they're putting their house on the line, and they care about what they're doing. There's a lot of places that aren't. But when two guys walk in that do give a shit about what they're doing, bleep.
It's
all
fine.
right.
It's fine. I think at this
Well,
point we're just like
we've invested in
let's
ourselves,
leave it.
equipment, and lighting, and microphones. Like we've constantly invested in ourselves to forego this program and have these conversations with random people. That
And you
show
never
up.
know who's going to show up.
You never know. I go out once in 6 months and boom, I'm here.
I know.
If you talk on Drink Talk, your tab goes on the house too. But they're only here for the drinks.
But I will say,
That
are we
was
drinking
planned all along.
Give
Yeah.
me 2 of those.
How can we get a drink downtown?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look for the people with the microphones.
Awesome.
We'll get enough.
You got a drink in front of you now.
So you guys run podcasts?
We do. Yeah.
is he here?
We also run a few other things here in town, but podcast is one of them.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
So
We're not
cool.
going to talk about that until the camera's off.
Exactly.
shit, okay.
It's okay.
I'll keep my shirt on then.
Perfect.
This is not Girls Gone Wild.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Dario's gone wild.
So hang on, time out. You did just win the burger competition,
No,
right?
No, Nick did.
Oh, Nick did. Okay.
Yeah, Nick did.
Well, why are you sitting here?
I know.
I don't know.
I've got third-rate burger over here. This guy.
Hold on. Nick is with
Dante?
Dante
Dante.
Forno.
Well, yeah, we can get him on the mic.
Did he get a trophy? Does he have a trophy? He just plop
First
down?
of all,
There was. I touched the trophy.
all,
Remember?
Squishy,
The burger.
squishy.
A lot of it depends on how many
The squishy
Negronis
trophy.
Nick has been. How many Negronis deep is he?
Well, we're only one mezcal
That's the
Roni
question.
deep.
Maybe.
Yeah, get him here. Yeah, you should. I'm gonna watch.
Oh,
Be careful.
Well, I'm sorry we hijacked your podcast.
Oh,
It's your podcast, not ours. This is you.
This is actually
This is
very,
what
very.
you wanted.
Yeah. This is almost like a part 2. Like this is very interesting. Like I found myself not speaking at all because I was so enthroned
Intense
with
with like restaurant. This is great.
So when I yell at staff, I use coolicisms, is what I call him.
not
Because he's
colloquialisms.
really good at getting his point across, and you can't argue it because he's right.
Yeah, would you tell all my staff that too?
Yeah, I have no business in there. I have no business in there.
Tell him to listen to the podcast.
Are you the Hell's Kitchen of
I have
Omaha?
one rule.
Is
I have
that-
one rule. Work with intent. Work with intent and have a reason for what you're
Work
doing.
with purpose.
If you can give me a reason for why you did something one way, I'm probably not going to question it. It's probably better than the reason I had for doing it my way. But just work with intent and have a reason.
It might. I mean, you have to be so.
Why did you do something different than what I taught you?
Right. And if your way is better, I'm open to that. Not always,
do it.
but I'm open to it.
I mean, be open to learning. I mean, I think what's fun about this business does. I mean, food and beverage, hospitality lets you learn your entire life. I mean, you never stop.
It's different every day.
But I will say, there's some things you kind of fall back on after a while, and you'll see people kind of go through the same learning curve. And there is a piece where there's a lot of things you do because you've actually thought it through, and it's like, yes, I know that seems like a good idea, but actually, you see, it doesn't always work.
That's not how you got married, though.
That's not how you get married. No.
The way it was put to me one time was have you been in business 20 years, or were you in business 1 year and repeated it 20 times? And that's not necessarily a bad thing either.
Well, in hospitality, you cannot, it's such a living, breathing thing that you can't just open your doors and expect that's going to be enough. I mean,
Correct.
The place that you were 13 years ago is definitely not the place you are now.
Well,
It's not where I would hang
first
out
thing I tell my guys is I would rather be warm for 20 years than hot for 6 months. So that's
an awesome way
yeah,
to put
that's
it.
first thing we do. Anybody can be hot for 2 years. That's easy. But I want to be warm for 20 years, and that's what's going to
It's the
really
long
get
game.
me.
The long game.
Well, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it's building a legacy. Like, I think that's kind of a cool way to say it or whatever. Like, anybody can be the flavor of the week,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Easy.
I mean, the stuff that you do in those first couple of years and things like that, where you stay warm, and you start changing the game slowly, and then all of a sudden everybody knows your spot, knows who you are, knows what you're doing, and you become a destination of
Institution.
You have to go to this spot and try this, that, and the other.
That's definitely how Omaha rolls. Omaha likes institutions over kind of hot new spots. I will say that the economics of restaurants and bars are perverse. So a lot of times the reason that people are so adamant about getting hot in the very beginning is because you basically take whatever your investment is and know that at the end of it it's worth zero. So whatever it is that you took to open your doors, if you're savvy, maybe you did it on a shoestring budget, but for the most part, especially now, restaurants cost a fortune. It's like you spend that money and then it goes to zero. And so you're under the gun. Maybe not so much here, but imagine if you were in the major market. Imagine you were in Chicago or New York or San Francisco, and it's like your little postage stamp is going to cost 10 times as much by the end of your lease term. So you better have it figured out, and you better know within 6 months whether or not that's doable. There's a separate side that's very, very, very kind of that's calming, I think, to say, hey, Omaha doesn't quite work that well. Rents don't skyrocket. Even in the hotter parts, like in the old market or Dundee, you're not going to have your landlord turn around and just triple your rent after 5 years. Probably. I mean, I've heard some horror stories, but generally speaking, not. And so you can do this, and so the consumer benefits. I mean, incalculably from the place that's committed to the long game, because restaurants do not run long game, man. It's the economics make it so stupid to try to play long game.
Would you say our society has trained us to think short term?
Maybe, but I think this industry
yes,
is
I will say that it's trained to short term, because if you don't produce something within 15 seconds, People get
Instant
bored. People get bored.
gratification,
Yeah.
right?
What is it?
Yeah.
It's 18 seconds.
18
actually.
seconds,
Or-
yeah.
Well, it's the attention span of everybody wanting everything
Yeah.
now or yesterday.
The
Like,
immediacy of it.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
have
just-
not made me laugh yet. I'm moving on.
Yeah, bye-bye.
That's why nobody grows chestnut trees, because it takes forever to
Takes
get
forever.
a product.
well, I mean,
They want a fruit now.
Have you ever tried to harvest a chestnut?
yeah,
They're also it's
Yeah.
also a nightmare too.
well, I mean, that kind of goes into like what I do with the cocktail side of things, like agave maturing
Yeah.
takes 7 to 10 years before you can even have a plant that's remotely
And unlike
able-
bourbon, where it's sitting in a
able
rick
to-
house,
yeah.
temperature
able to be
exact.
harvested. I mean,
Left to the
you know,
elements.
tequila and those guys they have to play the long ball. It's not like you could have it yesterday. It's something that takes time and care and things like that. That I think that
You should have some appreciation for it.
yeah. I mean, once again, it's just everything going in with an intent. Like, we have to do what we can with what we have. And I think that it's a really interesting industry to be in, honestly.
I agree, and you have to make sure you present to people right way so they get full enjoyment
Yeah,
of the
totally,
product.
totally.
And yeah,
Yeah, no, that's the enjoyment part. Whether or not we talk about taste being a whatever objective or subjective quality, I think people have to have fun.
yeah.
Well,
Nobody. Yeah, that.
if
that's,
you walk
that's,
into a
that's
if you walk into
You're
a
selling two things. You're selling the product that you've created, and you're selling the experience.
No, you're only selling the experience.
I
Right.
completely agree.
That's-
That goes
that's
that
Nope.
goes exactly with what I was saying earlier. Like what we're trying to do here at Green Room, and my hard, firm belief is we are cultivating experiences. You can get a Bud Light wherever. Like, why are you coming back here? Why are you getting why are you getting a plate of pasta from your spot? Why are you getting a plate of pasta from your what's the reason you're even walking in the door? Like, it's because you had a certain experience, or you came in once on a random, enjoyed yourself, and then that creates that that repeat customer.
Let me jump in because I know you want to say something.
I do.
There's like this really quick note
Go ahead.
that totally I like it kind of blew me away, where sometimes you over deliver.
Oh,
You know
totally.
what I'm talking about, and so you give a guest maybe a little bit too kind of special an experience, and then your place stops being a place you go to on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You're like, well, no, I don't go there unless there's like a reason to go there.
Well, yeah, like it needs to
Because
be
it needs to elevate it. Everything needs to be elevated to experience it as opposed to like every day, which is like, oh god damn it.
Well, that's
Yeah.
difference. In a service industry, we say, it's like, what are you going to do to somebody? But in a hospitality, it's like, how you going to make somebody feel? So that's a
Exactly.
huge separation.
People will forget
Yeah.
very quickly, the drink they had. But they'll never forget how you made them feel.
Exactly.
And if you,
Exactly.
it's big hellos. It's big.
It's easy
big
to provide them
goodbyes,
service and give them,
So
here,
let me
here it is.
let me provide a story for that situation. There is a place in Florence that I loved going to. It was on my way home. I stopped
Oh, don't
there,
tell me.
and it was just such good food. And then it burnt down, which was unfortunate. And they rebuilt. And when they rebuilt, it was in a weird location. But I'm down for trying it out, and I'm gonna go do that. And I went there, and I had a horrible experience. Horrible. It was just like the person that was actually serving us quit in the middle of serving us. Like I never got my food.
I'm not going to say I've never fired somebody in the middle
and
of
I,
a
I know you guys probably know what place I'm talking about.
That's insane.
Well, that location is closed too now.
And now that location is closed now too.
Yeah.
when you said Florence, I thought you were talking about Italy.
yeah, it's
No.
same. I totally thought he was talking about.
I was like, oh, Florence,
There-
Italy.
there's
Very-
But they had such good food.
Winner, chicken dinner.
Their gumbo and they did Southern cooking so well. Unfortunately, they just didn't have the right people pushing the right narrative of what they wanted for a restaurant for that.
It's such a fight all the time, and like, it's such a fight. It's such a fight. I mean, horrible experiences are horrible experiences. It's tough.
I'm still gonna go. I'm still gonna,
Yeah.
if they get a restart and go to the next place,
So
I'm
the
definitely gonna
defi-
check it out.
The definition of a horrible experience to me, the one that I've just like,
Because I've had so many good experiences with them.
Fair enough, and that gives you goodwill.
Yeah.
But the thing that I just like in my gut is just like, nope, this place can go eat a bag of whatever.
stuffing things. Eat a bag of stuffing things.
There you go.
Right.
Is when I get the sense that just nobody gives a shit. Like nobody cares. It's just one of those places. It's like, oh, it's another day. Everybody's clock watching. No.
That's say hi to Nick, man.
Yeah, I was gonna say we
Mr.
have a
Straw
new
Oh, I thought you said
additive.
Ryan Gish was here.
No. Oh man.
Whoa.
Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, no, Nick, give us a quick little introduction, my friend. I know that's hard to follow, but we'll be okay.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Welcome to our podcast, Ring Talk.
It's so funny because that's a Paul Kulik. If you say that, anyway, my name is
Trigger.
My name is Nick Straw. We've talked about that so many times, Paul. Nick Strawhecker here from Dante Inferno. We just
Dante's. I love Dante's Inferno.
oh, we're Dante, not Dante's plural or whatever. But thank you. But yeah,
You
Dante.
guys do great stuff over
Oh,
there.
thank you so much. And
Did you not win the burger contest tonight? Is that what I heard?
Yeah, we did.
Where's the
winner,
trophy
chicken.
at?
The trophy is.
It's over. It's over there.
I believe the trophy's been eaten.
Yeah.
The burger has
It
been
did look tasty. It was bouncy.
Dry aging.
It's dry aging.
I gotta say that.
I believe I think that's a Gish burger that they. That's a template on the top of the.
Oh my goodness.
I said it.
I know you.
It was the most fun I've
Much
had.
love, Ryan. I love you, man. I do. I love you.
I gotta say, and I don't know if Dario and Paul feel the same way, but it was the most fun I've had in the kitchen, and I had a fucking ball. Like, did you guys not have a good time?
It was
like,
a
like,
blast.
like we did.
Slivovitz helped. Yeah.
The Slivovitz did
Slivovitz
help.
helped.
It's
Yeah,
been
that
it's
little plum braid
it's been a fucking bitch of a like.
Gone off the rails now, haven't we?
It's
The ship has sailed.
December.
Going into the third hour.
We're just gonna.
What's the time say in the
I
bottom
just
corner
feel
there?
like we've been getting our
2:15.
It's
There you
been
go.
nice,
All right.
like
All
cooking. And the Block 16's crew is about as fucking.
None of this is
awesome
going to be
as it
usable.
gets.
Just
Are we
we're
not?
not supposed to curse.
Did
Yeah.
that say fuck?
Oh no.
Oh really?
Gosh darn it.
Yeah. Clean it up, chef. Come
Tell
on.
me that before I go on the fucking air.
Oh
Even if I told you, I don't know if it'd be the
well,
same.
that's all surprise. Surprise censorship. It's
All
a
right,
thing.
sorry about that. I figured that like I thought podcasts were all like you can say whatever you want.
Right.
Good catch. Good work.
Really? We can't say F word?
No.
You
Well, I
can,
mean, we can.
you can, but they're gonna.
And it's gonna get bleeped on the back
Gonna
end.
go. You're gonna.
It's a
Talk-
family-friendly
you're gonna
podcast.
Talk.
Oh, okay.
Like-
I have a 4-year-old and yada yada. Like, sorry about that. I apologize.
Not that under 21-year-olds are watching this podcast.
You're the one that set the rules, Britt. Like I'm just following and abide.
Well, it'd be nice if somebody like
This one will have a
gave
not
me
safe
some
for
sort
work.
of.
This one's gonna be not safe for work. For
How
sure.
did you win the award tonight?
Yeah.
How did you win the award?
I
He was
suck-
stuffing ballots. I don't know if you know
I
this.
suck Paul Irvin's cock.
I think they had an app electronically casting votes.
Oh.
and just happened. Yeah.
They hijacked it via an application.
Yeah, it started in Iowa, and Dante adopted. Yeah.
So I mean, okay. Well, what was like the winning burger? Describe it for us. What was it? What made it special?
It was so we. Are you familiar with like seal fetus? So we. Sorry. All right. So we did. No, I'm serious now.
This was
Sorry,
at this point, like whatever.
I'm in celebratory mode.
Let's let it roll.
I'm in celebratory mode. Right, Dario? That's okay.
Fuck yeah, man.
It's okay, right?
You're fine, Dario.
It's fun.
We'll
it's
bleep you
fun.
out later, it's fine.
It's fun to win, but like honestly, like
What was your burger? Describe your burger.
I just like.
And take the seal fetus out of it.
All right. I just liked cooking with my friends, and my friends from like Dario and Paul are my friends, and I loved cooking with Paul and Jess, and I like cooking with Paul and Jess's crew.
Yeah,
And
they're good crew.
my
True
guy
that.
Nick had our back. I mean, it was just like it's
They
such
got
a family experience at that restaurant.
They got a good crew,
That,
man. They got a baller.
They
crew.
got it. Yeah.
They know how to do it, man.
Those guys are.
They know how to
real.
do it. They know how to do it. There's a reason that it's the best restaurant in Omaha. All right. So anytime anybody comes to Omaha, any friends from out of town, I pick them up at Epley, and then we go to Block 16, and then we eat there, right? All right. So the day of my wedding, me and my dad, my closest, my family, we ate there at Block 16. The day my son was born, we went to Block 16 and ate. Block 16 is such a special restaurant in Omaha. True. I love it so much.
I got engaged at that guy's place.
So I just want to say all that.
Well, no, actually, no, I didn't get engaged. What I did is I asked Quinn's parents if it was okay. Is what I did. Yeah.
Again, delirium tremens.
Yeah, totally. I needed some tremens on that day
helps,
for sure.
Yeah. What is in the burger, Nick?
Yeah, what's in the burger? What's in the burger?
What's the burger?
So we got this the seal from Greenland. No.
Hi guys.
All right. So
I'm back over here.
And we're back.
Whoa.
All right.
This is the winning burger. So everybody, hold your breath. This is the winning burger.
It was CAB, certified ASB, 80/20. I mean, just
at least 21. At least 21 years.
Well, she was 16 though. I promise.
She was a nice
1600.
She was a sweet.
And we can get that at Dante's, right?
Dante's Pizza and Subs.
Where is that located?
Or Forno. Neither does burgers, right? You've never done a burger.
We need to tell the general public that is watching the show where Dante's is
we
located.
Will never do a burger. I've never done a burger professionally in my life.
170th and Right Circle.
So that's where you're going to go to get Dante.
No, you're never going to eat that fucking burger there.
You go to Dario.
You can't get a burger there?
No burgers. So this guy won the competition.
They won the burger award, but no burger there.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. They stuffed ballots.
That's amazing.
They stuffed ballots. It's totally.
Yeah. Well, I decided to call Putin, and I was like, hey, how do you
rig an
election?
So
well done. Sir.
So he called it the Russian burger. It's totally.
So how does one like
better
totally,
than a European
going like quid pro quo burger?
The quid pro quo.
How does one manipulate? All right. Here's my burger. Honestly, here's our burger. All right, you ready?
All right, ready.
The secret sauce.
All beef patty.
Is it the secret sauce?
All beef patty.
CAB, certified Angus beef, right? So I like CAB, and we do certified Angus beef plus. So that means no chemicals, no anything, right? So
it's very clean burger.
It's a very clean burger, right?
Well,
that's 80/20.
The beef product is really impressive. Actually.
It's a good product, right? So it's 80/20, so 20% fat, right?
Yep.
All right. So then we have this. We hit it with salt, and then this duck cure that we use.
You haven't done much to it.
You can't cut me off, so I can't really. Say
I'm just saying you haven't done much to it. Salt.
Well, let me keep on talking, and then I'll.
Salt and burger.
Right.
Yeah, duck cure.
Maybe be quiet for a little bit, and then I'll be able to. I'm sorry. I love you. You're great. All right. So.
I'm the guy of the show.
I know. All right. So then there's a bunch of cumin. There's a bunch of smoked paprika. There's cayenne. There's tons of salt, right? So it's the same spice that we use for our duck confit, right? So we do a ton of duck confit. Dario does too, I'm sure. Right? So we use that same weird spice that we use, and we hit it with
Is it like an allspice? Is it a Jamaican?
No, I just told you. It's like all the spices I just said.
It's like those things, but not.
Yeah,
it's not
like that.
Well, we use a green cure, so yeah.
It's a secret ingredient, is what you're telling me.
No, it's not secret at all. It's smoked. All right, so all those spices, and then we caramelize a bunch of red onions in the wood oven because we use wood oven, right? And then we deglaze with a tons of balsamic. And then,
I love balsamic.
And then grain mustard, right? So that's the onion component, and then we use this smoked mozzarella cheese that we use. Smoked provolone.
Sounds fantastic so far. I mean, it's
was really delicious.
Why aren't you serving this? I mean, it sounds great.
And then we did, man, I lost my train of thought. And then we did, we made this aioli with paprika.
The real
why
question,
don't we serve it? Because I'm an Italian restaurant. There's no burgers in Italy.
the real question is, where'd you
If
get
you
your
throw
buns from?
pepperoni on
the
it.
buns are from Rotella.
There you go.
It's a local bun.
Perfect. Okay. Did you do anything to the bun?
No, we warm the bun up. We use a local bun from Rotella.
Yeah, hard to beat local.
All right.
Congratulations on winning.
Yes.
Thank you.
That was
Thank you.
Yeah, nice work. And
Thank you.
I think we're going to get the Green Room guys back on.
All right.
Appreciate
Good luck.
you coming on.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Chef.
Thank you for letting us know all about that.
Man, we had like a half-hour side tangent there on restaurant stuff.
Yeah, but hey, if you're going to bring the superstars
That is
in,
super
I mean,
awesome.
that's three of the best.
Thank you, Dante.
guys who care about what they're doing, what they're putting out here.
That was
And,
super awesome.
I mean, we're a service industry bar, and
Yeah.
that's what it comes down to.
So-
Is we want to serve the people who serve others.
Wow.
What's
That was like a
Hey,
like a
and
moment of time. That was like the best absinthe story that we've ever
Yeah.
had.
We all did drink absinthe
everybody
like
drank
3
absinthe.
times.
Wait,
We just changed our story. It's great.
did that just happen, or was it absolutely?
yeah.
I don't know. He
so-
might have been
I don't know if you saw
hallucinating.
Sarah Baker Hansen's back there too. Are we wrapping this up, or do we
Yeah.
want to bring her on too?
No, so so what I wanted to touch base with real quick. I know that Nate kind of said it, but it's kind of a cool thing, and we were talking about it earlier. You know, being kind of organic in the whole thing, and like kind of letting the neighborhood tell
didn't
us,
invite those guys.
tell
They just
us
came in.
what was happening, and you know, the whole block.
I saw all the people invited.
No, on the bottom.
You know, Block 16, they're the homies across the street or whatever, or around the corner. And what this thing kind of turned into is
Chef Jeff and Paul there.
we are a service industry bar. Like all of the people
Yeah, I saw.
that work, you know, bars and restaurants and stuff like that, like this is where they hang out. And you know, now that I'm like an owner or whatever, like service industry people and hospitality people are the best clientele you can ever ask for.
Absolutely.
They like clean up their own tables.
They'll jump in on a podcast when you need to fill some time. You know,
Exactly. But I think it's just really kind of funny how that happened. We had three of the best chefs in freaking Omaha.
literally
just like
3 of the best chefs.
just
Okay.
walk
In a
in
lot
and
of
like,
places.
hey, we're doing this thing, and they just hopped on like.
By the
like,
way,
cool.
chefs do cuss.
Yeah.
well, they
that's-
spend a lot of time in a kitchen. You
Yeah,
know,
they-
when you're in a kitchen, you have a very small audience.
Sailor mouth.
Yeah,
It's fine.
that's why they're in the back of the house.
You got some Jenga going on back there.
You got all the times on there to bleep it all out.
No,
You know,
well,
at this point,
Service
it's like,
has been interrupted. I get it. I understand.
yeah,
Yes.
it's fine. But I mean, we do want to get things back on track or whatever.
I suppose if I had 30 seconds just to talk about us and who we are and what you can expect when you
Tell
come
us your
in.
story.
It's Nate, Andy, Matt. Nate Ellis helps us out too. There's not one part of this that we've done alone.
It's a team effort.
It's been a team effort either through years me working over at the Black Squirrel and trying to manage a place in Council Bluffs, Iowa, where I had no ties and I had to go in and literally hand forge ties in some cases. And to being able to, what I call back home here, I live in Council Bluffs now, but this is home to me. I'm Nebraskan through and through. Just the sense of community that you can drive into a place by just being reasonably priced, willing to try something else, and clean.
And to show gratitude. I mean, that's the biggest thing we've got. Nobody does anything by themselves, and people who tell you that they do are lying to you. We've had so much help, and to list the names, I tried to do it.
Yeah, we don't have another 2.5
hours.
hours of this thing to list all the names of people that helped us out.
It's like the credits on Star Wars.
Oh yeah, just
From Drink Talk all the way to
We are kind of helping you out.
Jim Henderson with H2C Construction. I mean, the list it's long, and
Lifelong
it's a
friends
team.
in some cases.
It's a team effort, and you build relationships that are going to last a lifetime.
And when you come to the Green Room, that's what you're going to start building yourself. We're going to have the same bartenders. We're not turning over people here. These people here are making good money. We pay them good money. It's just very good.
Good culture.
And we've had a lot of time in this market to kind of handpick the people we want to work here based on the service that they give.
It all boils down. I've said it like 5 times because I had to say it to 3 other new people that showed up. But I mean, we're cultivating experiences. That goes for employees as well as clientele. You know, I'm not terrible to work for, and you know, working with Nate and Andy,
Matt, you're
and
a cool dude.
I mean, like I'm okay. I'm decent at best, I suppose. But
Right. If I'm the worst,
We're to Midland.
yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where like we're just really trying to drive that home that you know,
this your
like
bar.
our staff, you know, is serving our clients. You know, us as owners and managers and all that other stuff, we're serving our staff. And like at the end of the day, anything that we do in this industry, there's like we talked about it, there's a reason why it's service industry. From the very, very top to the very, very bottom, everybody's serving somebody, and being able to do that in a proper sense and really just drive home us like giving a hootenanny about everybody that shows up in this place is really what I just strive for so hard.
So it's what keeps me going. It's what pushes me to do more. I always feel like there's somebody knocking on the door or somebody
I
coming
love how this
for
place
what
is
we
packed
have.
right now, and we're
we're
just
still
having a
jamming
show
out.
right here in the middle of it.
Welcome to the Green Room, baby.
If we have to end on one note, it is always our pleasure to serve you. It is never your pleasure to be served by us. And we want to. If there's never a point to make, it is always our pleasure to serve you.
Service industry. We're here to serve. We're here to make sure you have a good time. That said, don't come in here being an a-hole.
But stop down to the Green Room and hang out. And
Where's the Green Room located?
306 South 16th. If you get lost, go to the Orpheum and go right across the street. You'll be
down
there.
on 16th Street.
We got big green neon
Can't-
in the window.
can't miss it.
You'll see the fairy wings and all that fun stuff. I guess I don't know. I think we're exiting, but is there anything that we didn't touch on that you guys wanted to touch on?
I will say that
more stories, but
I mean,
Yeah,
we don't have another 2.5 hours.
We
man.
got stories. We can do another one of these.
If you wanna
we can do
come-
a weekly one. I don't care.
if you want to,
We can invite more famous people too, if you'd like. I mean, like,
If we didn't kick
That's the
up
only way we
Omaha
can-
famous enough for you.
that's the only way we can get them to hang out with us when you guys show up. So.
that's just what I was going to say. If you want to come hang out with like the icons of Omaha,
right now, literally, it's live right now.
Get your butts
we
down here.
got Sarah Baker Hansen.
I mean,
the Omaha food
it's-
critic extraordinaire. Three of
it's-
the best chefs in Omaha.
It's
Some
one of
the
those
best
things that
bartenders.
it's just really cool to see, like from my perspective. I mean, given that today's Sunday, but Friday we started this series called Friday Night Vibes, and you know we're trying to drive a little bit more late night business. We had a DJ playing some kind of like cool tunes or whatever. It was midnight in here.
Your guys' happy hour. You guys play records.
Yeah, 3 to 6.
Come on
happy
down
hour.
and bring a record with you.
Yeah, vinyl happy hours 3 to 6.
every day.
Friday.
Yeah, Monday through Friday.
From here to eternity.
yeah, the
BYOV.
Yeah.
Bring your own vinyl.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, this past Friday it was midnight where my bartenders are cruising right along, and I like take a step and I just like look at everybody
Yeah.
that's in here, and I got people from I got like
All walks of life.
6, 7 deep of different restaurants and like being represented. It was like the freaking United Nations. It's ridiculous.
So at 8:30 every night, you walk down an alley in the old market, and everybody is out smoking. All the cooks, all the staff, everybody. That's kind of what this bar is. It's like 8:30
Yeah,
at
we're the
night
smoke
on
break.
a Friday, Saturday night.
We're
Walking down an alley.
Yeah, the smoke break, I suppose. It was just really cool. Like we had like 97% service industry people in here. I had like I guess representatives from like 801 Shop House, from Monarch, from Sullivan's, from La Colono, from Wicked Rabbit.
Way to bring the crowd from around here.
Oh,
Way to
it's-
bring the people
well,
in.
I mean, we're a
If you're
neighborhood.
wondering where your bartender hangs out, it's at the Green Room. Better get down.
And I'll be serious about this. Like, there's been long, sleepless nights, and this is what I was saying about 16th Street. Like, there's not a non-entrepreneur up here. People went into Block 16. They turned that into the biggest heavy hitter in all of Omaha.
Oh, that's great food down there.
Mercury's over
yeah.
there doing awesome. Wicked Rabbit just
Momos.
In fact,
Oh
I
my
believe
God.
that's what the award.
Momos.
The
That's
award
where
that they
Momos-
got tonight had Block 16 on it. Like,
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
so yeah,
Because they
yeah,
can do that.
exactly.
that's great.
You know,
They hosted the event and they brought everybody in.
Awesome.
So if I wasn't sitting here trying to drive home service and the service crowd and what it means and encapsulate it all, like I would be doing myself a disservice and what this place will be. Like, we're urban drinking institution.
I mean,
we're urbanly located, and we want to be a drinking institution from here to banking years from now.
So what I want to
To
say,
Bangkok? What?
yeah.
Yeah, Bangkok. You come in and you can't get out.
we played on the we played on the green room aspect from the theater perspective, but what I would say is you guys have become the green room for the service industry.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude, it's
This
so
is-
true, and that's a great
we
observation.
never even thought about
Yeah.
that, honestly.
It's pre and post party for the service
Before you
industry.
go on stage, after you go on stage.
And I mean,
Hopefully not before. We won't tell anybody's boss.
Can we reroute phone calls here?
Right.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah,
well,
It's Johnny- it's
$5
Johnny
tip.
in.
Never seen ya. Never seen ya.
you can call.
He's
I
not
don't know
here.
if we'll answer.
Yeah, and it's just super crazy how all that just kind of like happened. But it's really cool. Like, yeah, just show up, and I'm pretty sure you'll know like 5 people. Like,
The
I
the
feel
best
like
things
I was
in
on
life happen this way.
I feel like I was like an entry episode of like Saturday Night Live, like in the green room of the service industry. Right?
Yeah. Hey,
You
dude,
never know who's going to show
I
up.
say Chef Dario, Chef Paul, those guys.
Way
are
to bring it
infinite-
up for talking about how things are supposed to be done in the service industry.
right?
Yeah.
Those are like
It was great.
Those dudes are like legends.
That was
Le-
good.
le- legends.
They know what they're doing.
I quote Paul.
You
I
want to
call
talk
him-
about making a good cocktail? They're talking about making good food.
Yeah, I mean, it's
and
it's,
as,
you know,
as I illuminated on earlier, it's one and the same.
It's one and the same.
yeah, and I mean,
Apples and apples.
they talked about it, you know, why they kind of like interjected or whatever, and like their stance on food and beverage, and you know, it's the same thing with what we're doing. It's just we don't have that combo lifestyle happening. We're just doing the bev side of things because, well, in my opinion, like we're let's
They're
we
doing
don't
it.
Yeah,
They're doing
they're
the
just
food.
killing the scene.
Yeah.
Talented.
Yeah, so just let them do what they do, and I'll sit over here and make dope cocktails. Like that's
Was
what I
anybody
do.
else disappointed they didn't show up with some appetizers or like a few snacks? When they listen to this podcast
Would
later,
it kill him to bring a burger?
Right. So you got some
Jalapeno poppers
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah, where's my mozzarella sticks?
exactly.
That- I ordered them an hour ago.
Yeah, you won the
Mom the meatloaf.
you won the burger award and you didn't bring nothing.
Yeah.
Really? Come on.
Hey, me, but in all honesty,
on.
those guys are super great. Cheers to them for stepping in. Like,
Well,
I mean, I just
actually,
yelled at them across
I don't
the
know if you
bar.
got full drinks, but cheers to you guys for being just being organic
and
like
open
we do.
to letting us roll with
Yeah.
our
For sure. I mean, that was awesome.
Yeah, stuff gets weird, and we're just rolling with the punches.
between the absinthe, the mezcal, and the absinthe. I think we had some fun tonight.
And
That's
the
my
wine,
third
the
absence
wine.
story.
We're
that's a good one.
going to go around the table. I'm Britt Roeder. It was a lot of fun. I had a good time here. I'm going to pass the baton.
My name's Brian, co-host here. So I appreciate you guys for hosting. This is like
Legendary.
one of the most organic episomes we've ever
Podcast
had.
we've
This
ever
was
had.
so awesome.
Hey, number 100, bro. We got to do it right.
Number 100.
Number 100.
Exactly.
Bringing it home strong.
Well, not hot.
Hey, guys, I just got to interview.
No, wait, we gotta finish.
Slow down. Slow down.
Nathan Birdsall partner
You're
with
gonna finish it
these crazy assholes at the Green Room.
And there goes the censorship again.
No, it's at this point,
Out
I'm
the
just
window.
like,
It's out the window.
Nate, let's hear from you, brother.
Thank you guys. Thank you for tuning in. If you tuned in, check out all the podcasts from Drink Talk. I watch them all. I think
All
they're
these
fantastic. When they
restaurants
go
as well.
live, it's the first thing I tune into. You're gonna learn
Appreciate
something.
that.
You might laugh. You might cry.
Learn something about your neighborhood as well.
If you don't like it
Dario
5 minutes
might
in,
stuff.
go half an hour in, and you'll meet some
Yeah,
unexpected guests.
Get a few
into
drinks.
the meat and potatoes of the podcast. It's great. My name's Matt Owens. Partners up with these yahoos. I mean, we have a good time at the Green Room. I highly recommend coming in, checking it out for yourself. In my opinion, the proof's in the pudding. There's a reason why we have a full bar in the middle of a podcast right now. I mean,
On a Sunday night.
Yeah, we're having a great
in
time.
February.
So yeah, I'll pass it to the friendo across the table, and he can do his thing.
Andrew Mead, I'm very appreciative for you guys coming in here. For anybody who's ever given us a chance and just come in and experience it, just like the chefs are doing. Like these guys are pillars in our industry,
For sure.
and they're coming in and they're just like, hey, this is great. And to me, like this wasn't like 30 days and we opened. This wasn't 30 days and we had people. This was a year-long work for me, Matt, and Nate. A lot of struggle, a lot of setback, and now we're here to show Omaha what we're about and what we're going to be about for a long time to come, hopefully.
And you're gonna have some fun.
Please
I
do.
can promise. You're gonna have some
It
fun.
doesn't hurt.
And if you don't, shoot us a messenger.
Thanks for
let us
tuning
know.
in, and have a good night.
Yeah, thank you. Bye bye.
Drink Talk.